crunch of pads, row of crowds, photo finish, a scream so loud. Every lap, every pass, every play, history made in real time replay. No filters, no fear, no rewind. We capture the edge, freeze the line. If it's fast, if it's raw, if it's real, we show you how champions feel. Turn the cameras, roll it live. This is the rush that keeps us alive. Every second, every frame, we're broadcasting more than a game. Elevated TV, turn it up tonight. Broadcasting races, sports, and a fight. From the first green flag to the final score, we're living it loud, always wanting more. Elevated TV, feel the heat. Front row action, every seat. When the lights go on, you know you'll see the best of the best on Elevated TV. Crank it louder, hear the call. From short tracks to stadium walls. This ain't just coverage, this is the show. If it moves fast, we let it go. Elevated TV, raise your hands. We bring the fire across the land. Race day, game night, victory. This is your home for adrenaline. Elevated TV, no limits, no delay. Live the moment, don't look away when the engines roar and the crowd believes you're watching it live on Elevated TV. On Elevated TV. Lights fade, crowd still screams. We don't just show the action, we elevate it. Friday night lights, engine scream, crowd on their feet, living the dream. From the green flag to the final lap, every hit, every crash, we got it mapped. Cameras roll, adrenaline high, every second flies by. Live if you wanna feel the thunder shake,
full swing again, and one of the special events during the winter months leading up to the return of spring and the full season ahead for summer is the Icebreaker. 11 years ago, it started right here at the famed hallowed ground. That is the Grand Strand in the Palmetto State, Myrtle Beach Speedway. So many racing memories, so many exciting moments of drivers and historic races from NASCAR to grassroots have happened since the track's demise in 2020. However, thanks to iRacing, those virtual memories still remain. And on behalf of Elevated TV and the Community Radio Network, we welcome you to coverage of the virtual Icebreaker, where it all started at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Hello, everybody. Good Saturday afternoon to you in February. Wesley Outland, David Cruance, as well as Cody Deemers on production. David, you talk about late model racing. We just saw the finish of the Ram Race for the Seat last night. Congratulations to my buddy from the Cars Tour, Manassas, Virginia's Mini Tyrell. My dirt friend Carson Ferguson has got a truck ride in Martinsville. But honestly, you think of Florida, you think of Georgia, you think of the Carolinas, you think of Speed Weeks, and this is one of these marquee events that means so much to so many. We're ready to do it again here tonight. Good afternoon.
This is what it's all about, the grassroots racing before the big show. We got a great lineup of races coming up on Elevated TV this weekend. This is where it kicks off. Of course, you're going to have the racing here in Myrtle Beach. Then we'll have our duels. Just about a week and a half ago, we had the Clash and the big show, the Elevated 500 on Sunday afternoon. But before we get up to Daytona, everyone's getting ready with some high-speed, short-track action. That's the way we like it on this channel. A lot of the time, we've seen some great racing in the weeks leading up to this, and this is the final showdown before things get even bigger this weekend. So the stakes are high for all drivers. The qualifying lineup is tight. We're seeing fast speeds from everyone throughout the field. In fact, right now, our full field is spread by less than a tenth of a second. So this is going to be great racing. This is the track we want to bring it to, and there's no better place before Daytona than right here in Myrtle Beach, I'd say.
It certainly is, man, and obviously this racetrack is so fun. It is exciting. It's a place that is near and dear to my heart. I remember literally calling races here in the broadcast booth back in the day with the late Bobby Summers and other great announcers like Bill Hennessy, Mr. Kevin Moon, just some of the names that ring a bell in my time announcing here at Myrtle Beach. But much less, I remember coming here as a kid. I remember my daddy and my mom, and we made a weekend out of it for the Myrtle Beach 400. It wasn't the late model race. It was the NASCAR All-Pro Series, or it was the Busch Series races that really kind of got me to being the person that I am today, not only as a race fan first, but also as a broadcaster loving calling motorsports. And we're ready to get this thing started. No preliminaries, no heat racing. Qualifying's done. The field is set. And Maestro Cody, introduce the starting lineup as we get ready to go for this race about to get underway right now. The front row is about to be gridded as you see all of the beautiful looking field of cars now making their way down on the front of pit row behind the pace car, and the starting lineup looks like this. On the pole, the number 63 from Richlands, North Carolina, Tyler Matthews, and Matt Gould to his outside in row number 1. Row 2, Alex Hicks in the 088 and Donovan Strauss in that number 51 machine. Row number 3 finds Kannapolis, North Carolina's driver Carson Quapple from the Cars Tour, and Zach Miracle in the 32 from the PD region as well. Row 4, David Roberts in the 180, and Colby Higgins on the outside of the 99. And your top 10, Mr. David will find Matt Cox, one of these guys from South Carolina, and Sam Yarborough also just down the road from, of course, Mullen, South Carolina. He'll start 10th.
Just after those two drivers, you've got Laney Buis in the 11th spot and Riley Gentry going P12 in the 09. Alex Meggs is 13th. Doug Barnes is going to be just after in the row beyond, but you have Jacob Hefner in position 14. Doug is the final driver in the top 15, and it's going to be Miranda Truitt there in the number 18 machine. Connor Hall is 17th, and Brandon Pierce goes 18th place. Rounding out the top 20 are Dale Earnhardt Jr. of the 3 and Landon Huffman of the 57. Final 3 on the field go Cade Browns, and then you got Mark Wirtz 22nd and last in that 11th row. So we got ourselves 11 fill-up rows, 22 drivers, and it will be Matthews and Gold to lead it off when the iRacing pace car lets him go.
That's the starting lineup for the Icebreaker here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. That exciting group of 22 virtual warlords. And in just a few moments, these drivers will fire their engines and they will begin to peel off of pit road. Hey, by the way, don't forget, coming up, join David and myself, as well as Jacob Reeves, I believe, coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time this afternoon, all part of our virtual speed weeks from short track to grassroots to NASCAR. We've got the Elevated TV Duels at Daytona coming up this afternoon. That will be at 4 o'clock. The Icebreaker, of course, going on now. And don't forget, tomorrow at 2 Eastern, this time, we'll be live with 500 miles, 200 laps. Unfortunately, David, I'm understanding you got to study. Education's important.
Yeah, I'm going to have to back out on that one. Well, you got a great lineup on Sunday that's going to come through. It's good to have Jake coming back for these races. So he'll be here with the 4 p.m., as you said, and hopefully going to have a few more guys in the booth for tomorrow's race, too.
Like having my good friend, the redneck announcer, Jacob Reeves, be able to join me in the booth. What were you saying, Cody? And Ryan Tomford will also be here on Sunday, too. And I'm understanding that Braxton Weiss will also pop in, so we can never have enough. Braxton Weiss will be our driver analyst for the race, of course, on Sunday afternoon. The field will begin to roll off of pit road. We need to pause as these drivers will now get ready to roll as the engines have already fired. They'll get some preliminary laps, and obviously we get set for, again, this race. Let's take a look at the weather conditions for these drivers as they get set to go for racing here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. 125 laps is the distance. Track temp is 76. Air temp at 65 on a foggy afternoon in virtual Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on the Grand Strand, if you will. And David, you now have the race information as we now have the field rolling off of pit road.
And there you have it, 125 laps. That's the advertised run for our field today. We could go a little bit extra with those 3 green-white checkers available, and caution laps will count. One faster pair, set of tires, and no halfway break, which means we could go all the way under green if things come to shove. Well, that's to be determined, of course. We've seen a lot of good long green flag races as of recent, so wouldn't be a surprise that we got a lot of long-term strategy in, but lap traffic could play a part. We've seen that as well at these smaller racetracks. Less than a mile, the field gets bunched up, lead passes maybe coming in that form instead. We saw it a lot in the Clash when we went down to our virtual version of Bowman Gray and did it on that very short track. Myrtle Beach is a little bit bigger. Maybe that's not going to come in play, but watch out for that. Time is everything. 125 sounds like a lot. It won't end up being that way, Wesley.
And the green flag flies. The Icebreaker is underway here at Myrtle Beach. By the way, 5/8 of a mile, 0.538 mile racetrack. It is abrasive. It is rough on tires, but they've got to find a way to conserve. Here they come, working now into turn 3. Opening lap off of 13 degrees of banking. Now 4 degrees on the front straightaway. Lap number 1. Give the opening lap to, again, Mr. Tyler Matthews in turn 1 and 2.
Nice jump off the line there for Matthews. He's going to get the lead, but it's still, by and large, double file. Look at the outside there from Hicks. He's still very close and coming off the corner strong. Matthews just ahead, of course, that rest of the field. You're watching the battle for second. Matt Gold, Alex Hicks, then Carson Quapple and Donovan Strauss as they roll. The entire field only separate by 5 seconds now. A lot of room for the leaders to the back of the pack. Matthews, though, nearly 2 seconds up on the field. second-and-a-half advantage over Matt Gould in only 4 laps. He is going as quick as it gets here. A little bit of a shake-up for a few of these drivers. Little jittery. Tires, well, that might come into play. Weather conditions, if we can get that up on the screen, I'm wondering what's that going to mean for these drivers. Right now, 65 degrees air temperature. Track temp is pretty mild at 77 Fahrenheit, and wind speeds at 16 miles an hour. So I don't think the weather plays to hurt the drivers here, but these tires are going to get warm no matter what, especially under the sunlight, so watch for them to snap loose.
Great analogy there. That's right now, Tyler Matthews up in front. Here's a man from Richlands, North Carolina, a driver that called Coastal Plains Raceway home. He also competed at Wake County, Southern National, East Carolina, another dormant track like Myrtle Beach. And in doing so, became a North Carolina state champion for NASCAR Regional. One of the local hot shoes of the PD region. Truett Miranda, his machine Ford's got a problem. He's on pit road. He's already looks like out of the race, or at least trying to have some service done here. Here's a replay of what happened on the number 18 as there's contact with him and Connor Hall in turn number 2.
Just a nudge up to the wall there, and that quick overcorrection is the first problem of the night. Not too much of a surprise, but it really is a shame there for Truett Miranda. Going to cost him a lot of time now. 2 laps down already, and if we're not going to see too many cautions, that's a death sentence this early in the race.
Just a little bit of a scare there for just a moment, as these drivers work their way again off the corner, down the back straightaway, already closing in on 10 laps in this event as they'll work with Matthews, Gould, followed by Hicks, Quapple, and Roberts, your top 5. The smart thing to do here is just be patient, right? I mean, you don't want to be too aggressive in the early going. We mentioned how these tires can really be used up as Higgins at the 99 really goes up high and almost gets up into the marbles of the racetrack. And speaking of marbles and speaking of conservative tires, David, you can see that now as they work the start finish. Pin in as they sell it into turn 1.
Already hitting the double digits. Lap after lap, they're coming in quick. It's side by side still in the middle of this field here. Matthews has gotten away. It's not too tight up in front. Now you'll see here, the outside groove, some drivers trying to work it on the middle or higher lanes. Still looks like the inside has the edge, especially in the corners. We're getting a good look at a battle here in the upper mid-pack. Try to get a better look at that number 23 on your screen right there. That's going to be Brown, and in particular, it's going to be Cade Brown alongside Riley Gentry there. Looks like Cade's got the bottom groove and can lunge it a little bit deeper in the corners. A few times we've gone racing recently at these short tracks, and the outside has actually played out well. But it looks like here, not a lot of banking, not enough for it to count too much. Unless you come into the corner clearly ahead like Colby Higgins there did. Still looks like the bottom is king, but you can see Brown backing off big in that fight.
The icebreaker in the early going again as now there goes the 23 shuffled out of line. This is in the top 20. That is Cade Brown. By the way, there's one of those drivers originally from Texas, Denver, North Carolina, and you get to see him in the Ram race with a seat. This happening was Connor Hall on the outside. What a battle we're watching here with these guys, and it looks like actually Cade Brown losing ground because here comes Mark Wirtz from the Commonwealth in North Carolina's Talbot Jr. on the other side of the Junior Motorsports 3 and 4.
It's as tight as it gets now. The 77 just hanging on that high side. Cade Brown trying to get a look on Connor Hall. Hasn't quite got there. Brown's been dropping back. Connor Hall just a little bit faster. And that moves Brown down into 17th. Now, that's still a few spots up of where he qualified, but with trouble now and more pressure from Earnhardt, Wirtz, and Brandon Pierce, he could fall even further behind. Meanwhile, you look at your leaders who are coming around, and we're going to try to get a good look on Tyler Matthews. The field is nearly connected. There's Tyler in the white and orange number 63, and he's catching up quickly to the back of the field. In only 18 laps, drivers are getting tightened. Again, no halfway caution is guaranteed tonight. No halfway break, which means the field could go upwards of 100 laps under green, or we could see caution with the next 5 or 10 laps. The field is at its own mercy right now, and I'm sure that the leader in Matthews wants to break away further and further. This is the highest lead or biggest lead he's had all night long, coming in at 1.6 seconds that time by.
Right now, they'll be coming to the line. It'll be 20 laps completed next time by. This race, again, 125 laps for the Icebreaker. Now, normally the Icebreaker, which, by the way, ironically, is just about ready to get started down at Florence Motor Speedway. If you want to watch, obviously, it's just about ready to go with the big show. The virtual race should be done before the big late model race, but it used to be called the Icebreaker 200, meaning it was a 125-lap late model race, and then they added on a 50-lap street stock race and maybe a 25-lap mini stock race. Maybe throw Legends and Bandoleros in there. But obviously, we're just focusing, David, on the late model portion of this event. And right now, it has been all Tyler Matthews from the pole as we're approaching 25 in here at Myrtle Beach.
Tyler Matthews in total control. We haven't even had to look at him all too much, and now you got that track map up on your screen. That shows you everything that's going on at the racetrack all at once right now. 23 laps in out of 125 as they roll, and still no difficulties for the man at the head of the field. But you'll see he's coming up quickly on the field itself, coming out of 1 and 2, and not too far ahead of him will be your last driver on the lead lap in Landon Huffman. Now, this is when it's going to get interesting. Matthews has a 2-second lead and a big enough gap to go through the lappers by himself. That could be a big advantage if he gets through and gets some passes early, but it also could play to his detriment if he gets caught behind Huffman. You could see the 27 of Matt Gould get a big opportunity to reel him back in without working too hard. So this could play one way or another as the caution's out.
Yellow flag is out over the racetrack. We'll find out what's going on, as it looks like Riley Gentry has actually crashed on lap number 24. There's the problem up in turn number 2, up into the marbles in the 0-9. He was 21st already with an issue, paddling alongside Air Doug Barnes Jr., and there's the contact right there going in the corner. Wow.
Very similar to what we saw before, but a little bit more violent, shall you say, on the way up.
What a hit indeed as we look at it from another angle. By the way, Cody Deemers on the production side in Muncie, Indiana, in the Elevated TV SearingMarks broadcast booth. Look at this now. Riley Gentry up in the marbles. He was already going up to the top anyway. Doug Barnes just gave him a little assist there and gave him some more air, part of the fun.
That on-board perspective.
David, what is that like, that helpless feeling, right? Because if you look on the replay again, you could literally see Colby Higgins' car. I'm sorry, Riley Gentry. You could literally tell that he had no control after he got door slammed by Air Doug Barnes. Not saying that it was intentional, but those two cars getting together, obviously. And then once you do that with Sam Yarborough watching from the back, there's nowhere to go. Look at this again. I mean, it wasn't intentional. It was just a racing deal. But once you're already up in the marbles, you've got nowhere to go except the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, right there. That onboard perspective, it tells you the story of it, and it's just the problem. What we've seen so far with these late model stocks is these drivers are a little bit twitchy. So when you get that hit and you don't expect it, you really have nowhere to go. And I guess it was just a case of trying to overcorrect it, trying to figure things out immediately. And when you're doing it at speed, it can cost you. And that is the cost of doing it the wrong way. And there's no second chance so early. 97 laps to go here. We only have one driver that's multiple laps down right now. It looks like going to be Truett now 1 lap down, but Riley Gentry is out of this race according to timing and scoring. So problems for Riley won't be recovered from unless there's a few yellow flags. We'll see what happens here with our first restart of the day.
Back to green. Here they come. Back in the restart zone. Out of turn 4. Back underway here in the Icebreaker. And Cody, if I'm remembering, this is the second annual Icebreaker. Am I correct? I think we did it last year. The second annual. And right now it has been all Tyler Matthews. There they are with Gould and Hicks right there battling side by side for second. Roberts watches on. So does Quapple. All this happens as they work again into the corner with now under 100 to go and 95 remaining.
Double file and tight, looking at them bundling up again and again. This is risky business. And I mean, it's exciting to watch, but at the very same time, not an easy situation. Drivers are bundled up, taking a ride on board once again. Now, what's going to happen here for Alex Meggs on the high side, we don't know. Looks like being high is a little bit riskier when it comes to contact. You get a hit, it'll send you right up into the wall. This is for 11th, so this battle is to get into the top 10 or to go outside of the top 10. Not quite sure what's going to happen here for Alex, of course, as he's in the mix, but for the time being, it looks like he's comfortable in his groove. He's trying to keep those guys on the inside at bay. It's just about dead even. No big advantage, high or low.
We also say as well, David, that there's got to be patience here, right? I mean, we're under 100 laps to go. Look at this grueling battle happening now as you see all of this going on around Yarborough. Sam Yarborough's trying to hold off Higgins and Meggs and Brown, flip-flopping for those positions. And all the while, now here comes Gould. He's ready to reel in like bait on a hook. Matthews the leader. It's also a battle for third. Goes on with Hicks and Roberts in turn 3 and 4.
Finally seeing some competition for Matthews. It looks like it's the closest it's been all night long. Not going to be able to get more than a second of a jump this time, and it makes a whole lot of a difference for the field around him. Now, Gould is right in his tracks. He's got the draft. He can pull himself tighter in. How quickly will it be until he goes for that next move, though? Still the question. He's running in line. Does he take the risk now, or does he do it a little bit later?
Forget coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Elevated TV and CRN. It's coverage of the Elevated TV 500 Duels at Daytona presented by FTN Broadcasting. And don't forget, tomorrow around this time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, it's coverage of the second annual Elevated TV 500 presented by, of course, all the amazing people that are a part of Elevated TV and CRN making it happen. Green flag coming up again tomorrow in the afternoon from the virtual World Center of Racing. Right now, Matthews in the lead. Gould is right there hot on his tail. He's trying to reel him in, but he can't do it yet. As we close in on 85 to go.
The fight has been tense ever since that restart. A lot different from what we saw beforehand. I think it's pretty much different for the better right now. This is what we want to see. Good racing up in front, intense racing for the lead. And so far, not able to shake the man right behind him. Gould is where he needs to be to just keep on applying that pressure, waiting for every opportunity. Well, of course, still hasn't gotten that opening, but he's right there. Third place, distant and further back, is the 180 of David Roberts. Roberts is up 4 places on the day now. Good race for him. Alex Hicks further behind hasn't quite gotten to him, but the lead fight has all the attention here. Most drivers have settled in and calmed down, but for Gould, it's his biggest chance. Maybe to get the lead before the halfway marker is all he needs here.
Rumble of those engines as they work their
listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification. This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Connor, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
The rumble of those engines now as we welcome you back to coverage with 82 remaining in the second annual Icebreaker, along with David Cruins, Cody Deemers on production. I am Wesley Outland, Elevated TV, CRN coverage from virtual Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the second annual Icebreaker. And so far, as we see more great racing going up in the back in the top 15 with Brandon Pierce, Connor Hall, of course, Sam Yarborough, Kate Brown, and even all this going on, we still see the dominance of Tyler Matthews here as we approach 80 to go. David.
Matthews has been the man of the hour, without a doubt. No break in his lead, and you can see again, he's coming up on the back of the field. It's about time now to try to break himself up from everyone else, and currently it looks like he's doing a great job of that. As long as he slots himself in here, it's going to be a lot harder for anyone to catch him back up. If he's inside the traffic and he's got the advantage, it's almost impossible to take it away from him right now. And you can see that Gould is having some bigger struggles. Matt is now with a pocket of lapped guys, of course, coming up close with Matthews here. But he's going to be running behind, which means that when the lappers get involved, well, it's going to be pretty difficult. Right now, 13 seconds back is Mark Wirtz, the final driver on the lead lap. Two drivers running more than one lap down. Taking a look to the inside, Matt Gould now has an opening, and he's going to be looking for that race lead, Wesley.
Obviously, we watch this going on again. Another great battle continuing on the racetrack as right now it is Gould up on the high side, trying to power on the bottom as Matthews up top now, trying to throw the block. He will not be able to hold him off. Here comes Matthews and Gould, stride for stride for the lead as they work their way back into turn number one on lap number 50, this time by at Myrtle Beach.
That's what we like seeing. Matthews now having to put a whole lot more work into it. And he hasn't quite gotten away yet. Look at that, nearly a nudge off the final corner, down the front straightaway again. It is tense and tricky for these two guys here. And you can see a little bit of a rumble up top. Matt, of course, close, but not enough again. And slowly getting back into the picture is David Roberts watching these two drivers. If they catch each other up, it could be a big distraction that makes it a three-way race. But Gould hasn't had the speed yet to really make a pass.
All this going on now as we continue to see the battle of cat and mouse go on with Gould and Matthews, and all the while we also see now the driver of Roberts, that is David Roberts in the number 18, another driver very widely popular in the PD region of South Carolina, now trying ever so closer to close in on these guys. The old cliche, David, you guys gonna battle when you're side by side as there's contact. Oh, Gould up the hill in the marbles. Matthews back to the lead, and Robert steams to the inside to take the lead, and now second as well as they go back into the corner, and Gould's going to fall back to third, and he's really lost ground. He's in trouble on the backstretch there, David. Unbelievable.
Wow. I can't believe that. That's about the dirtiest move we've seen one of these guys pull all month long. And to say dirty may be a stretch, but that's aggressive, and aggressive early. Tyler Matthews not wanting to get rid of that race lead. He's going to keep on fighting harder than almost anyone else is. Now, David Roberts with a clean car and no trouble. He might just have the edge in this situation. He's worn himself out a lot less. He's cut his distance in half over the past 10 laps. And Roberts is coming quick. He does not want to be the next victim, but I think right now he's got the pace to prove this lead can be his. He has been faster over the last 5 laps. When they come across the line again for Tyler Matthews, that lap was a 19.6, a 19.608. David Roberts, 200s faster, 19.5s he's in. He's faster lap by lap, and it's starting to show very clearly.
Certainly is, as right now we're going to see Roberts getting closer with now 70 laps to go to Tyler Matthews. By the way, we're closing in on the halfway mark. Let's give you the full-filled rundown, David and I will, of where we are. Your driver is on the racetrack at the moment here in the second annual Icebreaker. Tyler Matthews is the leader, followed by David Roberts second, Alex Hicks third, Zach Miracle fourth, Karsten Kvapel the top 5. Then it's the young hot shoe from Georgia, Laney Bice, the Georgia Pete, along with Matt Cox, Jacob Hefner, Donovan Strauss, and Alex Meggs. Right now, your top 10 on the racetrack just before halfway, David.
And just after that, you'll have Doug Barnes Jr. running at 11th. Colby Higgins is P12 with Sam Yarborough 13th. Brandon Pierce is just ahead of Connor Hall with Dale Earnhardt Jr. 16th place. Cade Brown, Landon Huffman, Mark Wirtz, they're 18th and 19th with Truett Miranda 20th. Matt Gould now all the way down in P20, and Riley Gentry right there, the last of them on the lead lap. Here's a look again at David Roberts, 4/10 away from leader Matthews. The fight is well in its fullest form. Now the question is, will we see changes made?
We're closing in on halfway. One caution so far to slow this event down. But all the while, the racing has been rather entertaining as you look at the Blue Line Soft Wash race recap so far here in Myrtle Beach at the Icebreaker.
One caution on the day. Only 4 laps taken to this point under yellow. Everything else is in clean and green. Textbook example of exciting, great racing. And that's exactly what we like seeing here.
Don't forget, join us coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have a nice little break for a lunch or whatnot. I think Cody was hungry. That's why he threw that break in there. 4 o'clock, the Elevated TV 500, the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN Broadcasting. That will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then tomorrow, it is coverage of the 2nd annual Elevated TV presented by Stagger Pros. Oh, and by the way, coming up later on this week, Speed Week at New Smyrna down in virtual Florida. Some of the great things coming soon on Elevated TV with now 60 laps to go. David, it is Tyler Matthews leading the game so far. The only pressure he had was Gould. Gould is now off racetrack. A couple of laps down in 21st, and Roberts, though, is inching closer and closer for the B1 spot, and so is lap traffic as well.
Leading the way has come pretty easy all throughout this race for Matthews, and I wouldn't be too shocked if that's going to stay the case the rest of the way. However, Roberts is now less than 4/10 of a second out, and traffic is going to be a problem here. Take a ride on board with Matthews. I'd like to see how he handles it as he strides now, but can't. He's going to give up the inside. Take a look down low. Roberts toe-to-toe to the inside. That's David Roberts for the race lead, and coming out of 4, he'll take it.
Traffic up ahead, but it will not waver Roberts. He'll go full to the inside. That Chevrolet number 18 up high is Matthews. Matthews now trying to maybe save some tires. It might be the smart decision to do. He's going to try to power back around. No, he will not. Roberts on the clear. He leads with 57 to go at Myrtle Beach into turn 1.
It's been a long time coming, but David Roberts finally has his day. He was walking that battle playing third fiddle, and now he's up on top with time running out. Now he's got a chance to get around, get a little bit closer to those guys who are in the lap traffic bracket, and maybe he can pass them and get away from Matthews even further. These top 2 drivers are 4 seconds away from third and Alex Hicks. They're in their own zip code right now relative to everyone else.
55 to go. As right now, it is still Roberts in front. That is the blue and white number 18. Look at this battle now ensuing back in turn 1 and 2. Here comes another great battle. This is Hicks. Opens the door to Zach Miracle in the 32. And also Quapple. That's Carson Quapple. He's watching all this going on. And we might go 3 wide. Quapple on the bottom. Miracle up high. Hicks to meet the sandwiches. They go into 1. This is for third.
Hicks still has that advantage down low. That's a great run, though, for the 32 Miracle on the high side. Not clear, but definitely speed down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Still nothing yet. Watching his Quapple. Quapple trying to keep that gap on the inside shut, but can't do it. Now it's going to be Laney coming to his inside as well. Double file, 2 rows deep. Slight edge for Hicks. Add a 2. Still can't clear, but another good lap might just give him the leeway.
Open the door indeed for these drivers as again somehow they fight and claw for those spots back across the stripe yet again. 50 laps to go, coming up here in a couple more circuits. As right now, here comes Wertz a lap down, or trying to stay on the lead lap now, as the leader, Roberts and Matthews, are trying to double up on lap traffic on the outside in turn number 2.
Coming to 50 remaining. This is the tightest battle between these guys outside the leader bracket that we've seen. But look in the front of the field right now. Roberts and Matthews are right on each other. They're toe-to-toe and side-by-side for first And with this pack of lappers, oh, look at that. Matthews blocked up. That's going to be a huge edge for David Roberts as he goes side by side and gets a little bit of protection. That's going to get him out of this jam. 3 and 4 ahead of Roberts is now nobody except for the lappers, and Matthews has just been blocked out of line.
The second icebreaker, virtual icebreaker from the iRacing Myrtle Beach Speedway, the #1 motorsport simulation in the world. David Cruance, I'm Wesley Outland, and we got, of course, Cody Beamers on production, and we are under 50 laps to go. One caution so far in this race. If you're saving something on this abrasive track in the Grand Strand of the Palmetto Virtual State, David, I think it's time to punch that button and go now.
Not a question about that. Not the time to wait, not the time to hide. This is fight to the fullest if you want a chance at victory. That's without question at this point.
A while, the strong car in the early going was Tyler Matthews. Now, let's be honest here. Roberts is in the lead, but not by much as they still continue to negotiate through lap traffic. As, by the way, now they put a lap down on Riley Gentry, who brought out the only caution of the race. Look at this now. Here is Matthews hanging right with Roberts. He's waiting for him to slip, and if he can, he'll capitalize now with 45 to go at the line.
Still, we haven't seen Roberts make any mistakes tonight. That's the problem right now for Matthews. You can't expect it if it hasn't happened before. Looks like a little bit of a twitch out there for Matthews. Doesn't help him either. Still right there, but it's going to be tricky.
Roberts down on the bottom. There's the man there in that Chevrolet number 18. As our producer said in our ear, it's really good racing. It certainly is right now, as these drivers work their way again down the back straightaway. 13 degrees of banking again at Myrtle Beach in the corners in turn number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in unison. 5/8 of a mile, and now 4 degrees on the front and the back straightaway on this awesome racetrack that opened back in 1958, known as Ramby Raceway. It became dormant, non-existent to the racing world in 2020 for reality. But virtual still makes memories here at Myrtle Beach. And as we close in on 40 laps to go, I got a feeling, David, we're setting ourselves up for another history night afternoon for the icebreaker on Elevated.
I would say so, and I think by that same logic, Tyler Matthews isn't done. Might be laying back just a bit, but I would be shocked if he lays down and dies in a position like this. Still so close to the lead and so close to one final chance at getting the spot back. David Roberts has 2 lappers ahead. Not going to be particularly simple right now, as it looks like he's got himself close, but he's got to break through 2 guys who are taking up 2 different lines. It's going to be hard, but he'll try it here, and Roberts gets both drivers to move out of the way, and look at that. Matthews is still caught behind. That's the advantage of dealing with these lappers well, and it's on full display, as you'll see there, Wesley.
Patience indeed. For all of this going on, it now settles us up for this wild finish. By the way, don't forget, coming up in about an hour and a half from now, it will be coverage on Elevated TV and CRN for the Duels. The Elevated TV 500 Sim Duels at Daytona. 2 150-mile, 60-lap races to set the lineup for tomorrow and the second annual Elevated TV 500 presented by Stagger Pros. That's today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, a 500 tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Elevated TV and on the Community Radio Network. As right now, getting closer to now 37 laps to go. It is Roberts in the lead. He's got lap traffic in front of him. Behind is Matthews, but he hasn't got to him yet as they come to the line, David.
This is fantastic. Matthews just able to get around, and that breakthrough wasn't particularly easy for him, but finally he's made it through. Now these top two drivers are still within a second of each other. Everyone else is so far behind that you can look at the other battles, and while they're tight, they're not even close. Here's a look right now. Hefner in the number 95, trying to get it there side by side. Now getting up in some traffic of his own right. So you'll see Jacob Hefner now up to 8th. Matt Cox right up there in the mix as well. 35 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also here. And it's a real big mix-up of drivers regardless of placement.
Wonder, late race caution, do you think we'll see it? Will this throw a monkey wrench in everything here now as we watch Yarborough and Brandon Pierce battle with Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking on? This is in the top 15 as they come back to the line with under 35 to go at Myrtle Beach.
Honestly, at this point, I'd be pretty surprised if that was going to happen. I think right now we're at the point where things are settled in and we can go to the checkered at this rate with how these drivers have been behaving.
Matthews, Hicks, Miracle, Ice top 5. 4 men and a lady right now as we close in on 30 laps to go. And the best battle we're being told on the racetrack is what we're seeing here is the leaders trying to get through lap traffic. The intensity is amping. There's another great battle in the top 15 between Brandon Pierce, Sam Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Connor Hall is now trying to get into this mix. So we're going back and forth, back and forth. I wish we could go side by side. But right now, all this is happening because why, David? The race is going on for the lead, but they're going through lap traffic, and they're right in the battle for the top 15 with 30 to go that we just mentioned going into turn 1.
Roberts has a 1 second advantage now over the drivers who surround him. So this is the biggest gap he's had since after the restart. And he's a little bit bundled up with these laps. So I don't think things are particularly problematic for him right now. He's where he needs to be. Just let the laps run out, and I would be hard-pressed to say anyone is going to catch him if that's the way it goes.
Down the back straightaway again here at Myrtle Beach. All these drivers continuing to hit their marks, stay in line, staying out of trouble, and finding the momentum they need to try to win the second annual Icebreaker as the time is running out. Roberts in front, but not for long. Lap traffic scattered from the top to the bottom, and Matthews is trying to ever so closer, try to find the right key to kick the door in. Cannot do it yet. He goes high into turn 1.
Still can't get around right now. He's got one driver giving him some trouble, and Matthews watches as Roberts stays on the inside. You give up that inside, it's a lot of problems with these lappers. Your goal is to try to force them ever so slightly out of the way. Still has not yet been able to do so. It looks like with 26 laps remaining, Matthews is getting problems, being shot up higher and higher. Roberts, as calm as he's been, just tries to keep it low more than anything else.
Approaching 25 laps remaining here at the virtual Grand Strand. That is the Myrtle Beach Speedway. And while that goes on, the laps are winding down. All this happening with now these drivers somehow, some way, trying to find whatever they can do to catch Roberts, especially Tyler Matthews. He's right there again with Gentry and Gould at one time. Remember Gould, he was fighting for the lead when he hit the wall. He's now a factor with lap traffic for Matthews in turn 4.
24 laps remaining. Time's running out. Got these old racing rivals. Will we see payback at all? Well, I don't think we're going to see anything just yet, but definitely not being raced easy. Matthew forced again to the outside, and he's going to drop a spot. Huge and horrible for Matthews, but a big deal for Roberts, who now has more than a 2.5-second lead. This is exactly what Roberts wanted.
Funny that you mentioned that, because I was going to say the same thing, man. Could it be payback? Could it be, hey, man, I remember what you did to me. This now is on you. And you know what? I could not blame Gould whatsoever of Matt Gould, the driver of the 27, if he did that to Matthews. Some contact with each other, racing now. Now it's when it's going to hurt the most. If Gould does anything to Tyler Matthews, it's going to happen. But it looks like right now Gould is toying with Matthews, and that's allowing Roberts to pull away by close to 3 seconds. 40 to go here in the icebreaker. And now Gould and Matthews, and he ran him up the racetrack. He does got a memory. No all-timers for Gould. And Matthews now gets a taste of his own medicine in turn 2.
Oh, Matthews does not get away with it. Just about 100 laps to go. He was fighting for the lead. These two were right at each other. And that is what happens. Do the wrong thing once, and somehow, some way, it'll bite you right back. And that's going to be basically game, set, and match for race leader Roberts. So long as David doesn't make a mistake on his own, this is his race to win. Well, we're about to see what happens now in these final 18, but Roberts is against himself, not against anyone in the field at this point.
What is it that Stewie said? That's what happens, man. That's what happens. You got till 5 o'clock. You got till turn 2, and I'm going to remember what you did to me. That's what happens, man. Roberts now the leader, and he pulls away, but not by much, because Matthews has got a renewed vigor. He's now cut it to 2 seconds, while Roberts gets through more lap traffic. All this goes on as we approach 16 to go at the line this time by at Myrtle Beach.
16 to go. It all comes down to this, even with a little bit of wiggles there. Matthews is a second and a half back. I think it's just going to be too many lap traffic cars to make it around. And if Matthews has the speed, I think it's only going to be enough to stay second, nothing more, and maybe, for his sake, nothing less. It's all going to balance out, stay just as is. To finish off this race well, I think he's going to have to settle Matthews for second. Meanwhile, you look back, and it is still tense. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the battle for 15th. Just ahead of him right now, Higgins in the 99. No changes throughout the remainder of the pack. Everyone calm, just running out their final laps of the day.
It is coming down to the end of it here. Under 15 laps to go as they go back again up on the high side, back to the bottom. Roberts now looking at past lap traffic. There he is, the second place man. He still has Gould in his sight, and now also the driver of Mark Works from the Commonwealth of Virginia, from Langley Speedway in the 55 up high, and a dozen laps to go. Time is running out. Matthews, he needs a caution, David. The question is, will he get it here in the late going of the icebreaker?
It was unlikely with 30 laps to go. My opinion has not changed at all with 12 laps to go. In fact, I think that's gotten even stronger. Almost no chance. Wouldn't say it's impossible, but if we didn't see full wrecking revenge there for a second, I think it's next to zero right now. I think we're home free.
Well, all of that goes on. Here comes the drivers now working again into turn number 3 and 4. This time by 11. Make it 10 to go when they come back around next time. And if you're saving something, 10 to go now, you better do something now, as now we start to see Connor Hall and Cade Brown battle. Roberts, the leader, is right there catching these cars as they come to now single digits in the icebreaker. 9 to go at Myrtle Beach. They're back in 1, David.
9 remaining. Roberts just picking them off slowly but surely. Watch the battle for 4th place right now between Hicks and Quapple, though. If we put our eyes back there, it is close. Quapple on the high side, Hicks on the bottom. Oh, a little bit of a block there as Hicks runs up the track, but he gets slow off exit. These two are just about even with each other, and I think that Quapple's got a chance to take the spot back. He's been close, but he hasn't quite gotten himself there. Just a nudge behind there, and the 51 of Cox will feel it.
Certainly says, I'm there. What are you going to do about it is the question. back to the line, making 6 to go when they reach the back stretch back to 3 and 4. There is Roberts. He's now got Kate Brown in front of him on the tail end of the lead pack. That is for 17th and 18th. Huffman, Brown, Hall in front of the leaders, as right now Roberts tries to now pick and choose. Up in front though, contact. Huffman and Brown get together. Now Roberts watches on. He now gets on panic mode. Goes up high. Opens the door now. The Golden Others. 6, make it 5 to go at Myrtle Beach this time by.
Oh, a little bit of pushing and shoving there. Roberts gonna feel it. Don't get wrecked by a lapper now, because Matthews is within a half second of the lead.
Unbelievable. A renewed vigor, if you will, for the man from Richlands, North Carolina. Here comes Tyler Matthews, and can he get back in this thing? All the while, here they come to the line. It'll be 3 laps to go. There's the leader, Roberts, but keep an eye on 3 lap cars, and the man in second, Matthews, on the high side, on the outside in 1. He's trying to clear him to run down Roberts, but time is running out in 2.
I can't believe it. The fact is, I thought Matthew was basically out of this race, and yet he's been able to come back oh so close to victory with time just about playing in his favor. The lappers seem to help Roberts for oh so long, but look at how tight it is now. It's going to be 1.3 seconds if he can break through. And if there's a mistake for Roberts, it's not impossible. With 2 laps coming to 1, though, I think it's still just going to be enough for Roberts to come away with the win this time. Wesley, the final lap is here and now, and Roberts is going to bring us to the end.
Final time, presented by W Energy, 1 to go. Final lap with lap cars all in the way, a lap down. Here comes now Roberts, working through 3 and 4. He is going to do it. David Roberts, ladies and gentlemen, is going to win the Icebreaker. Icebreaker 125 at Myrtle Beach. The second time, the second different winner here. Second place is going to go to the pole man, Tyler Matthews. A valiant effort indeed, but just could not run him down. And with the end of this race in less than 43 minutes, it is David Roberts that's going to celebrate as the virtual winner here on the Grand Strand in the Palmetto State of Myrtle Beach. David Roberts with lap traffic all around, David. From one David to another, David Crooks. He wins the Icebreaker here at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Roberts rocks tonight, without question. I'll tell you this much. It was a shock that Matthews got back up to him, but David Roberts made no mistakes, and he was the man of the hour just based on that level of amazing consistency. Truly the top dog of this event, and it's no wonder that he won it.
Unbelievable. And now the cars will head back down to the pit lane, going back to their respective pit stalls. And obviously that celebration will begin for the Chevrolet number 18 team of David Roberts. He becomes the second different winner to win here at the Icebreaker on Elevated TV. Let's obviously show you the battle. Look at this, the only pass for the lead, the battle for the lead right here to seal the deal. And honestly, David, it was perfect for David Roberts. Patiently getting around Tyler Matthews after Matthews and Gould had a little contact with one another. But David, saving, conserving, lets it work and pulls away to look back and get the win here.
Yeah, I mean, he really let Matthews do all the work for him, honestly. It was the battle for the lead early on that got him tired out. And once Matthews was up in front alone, there wasn't anything that he could do. He couldn't really defend all too much. It just became a sitting duck situation. That's how it ends up. Quick and easy for Roberts. And when he took the lead, there was no looking back.
Results coming up, obviously, here for this race. And David, before we get to the results, obviously a race with one caution, very entertaining. I thought we were treated to probably a very exciting icebreaker, maybe even better. I know you wasn't there last year, but I think, in my opinion, this race was even better than last year's icebreaker here at Myrtle Beach.
Well, certainly it was a thriller. and it's great that it went the way it did. I mean, no doubt about it. It was a battle for the lead until the final moments, and what's better than that? And especially when it's clean, it's great.
Here's a look at the results for the Icebreaker. By the way, don't forget, coming up in about an hour's time at 4 p.m. Eastern, we have coverage of the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN Broadcasting. I hope you can plan to join us on Elevated and CRN. David Roberts will pick up the victory. He is now the second different winner of the Icebreaker in its second edition. Tyler Matthews will finish in second from the pole. Zach Miracle third. Alex Hicks along with Carson Quapple. Carson Quapple and Hicks and Laney Bice, they stayed solid in the top five, but it looked like that was all their car had. At no time could they make a run up to the podium. Matt Cox, Donovan Strauss, Air, Doug Barnes Jr. from Maryland, and Jacob Hefner in the 95, your top 10 at the Icebreaker.
Finishing off the night just after that, you'll see your 11th place man. That's Alex Meggs. 12th goes Brandon Pierce, and Sam Yarborough ends up 13th. Colby Higgins and Dale Earnhardt Jr. wrap up the top 15, with Connor Hall and Landon Huffman wrapping up the lead lap. Then goes Cade Brown finishing in 18th. Mark Wirtz 19th. Truett Miranda 20th with some damage, and your last drivers on the field, 21st and 22nd right after that. Get them on the screen there. Matt Gould, who was previously fighting for the lead, and Riley Gentry, 4 laps down. Every driver able to finish this one when it was all said and done.
We now pause for station identification. This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
Checkered flag has fell at the second annual Icebreaker at Myrtle Beach, along with David Cruance, Cody Deemers. I'm Wesley Outland. We now pause for a commercial break on Elevated, and when we come back, we wrap things up from the Grand Strand to set the stage for not only the the Elevated TV 500 Duels and the 500 tomorrow from Daytona, but also close a chapter of this race at Myrtle Beach. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a second.
Shady Bowl Speedway is the premier asphalt track in Ohio. This year's schedule makes that absolutely indisputable. Which drivers will prevail in 2017? Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Shady Bowl Speedway.
We're back here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway, and the Icebreaker is about to be done. All right, guys, it's lunchtime, top of the hour. I'm about to make me some turkey and Black Forest ham sandwiches with some Duke's mayonnaise. Get me a little lunch. But obviously, thank you to all of our partners. You see the credits down below. And David, now we go from one of the greatest grassroots late model races of America to now the super speedway of auto racing. Obviously, the Super Bowl of racing, our version, esports style of the iRacing sim Elevated TV 500 in Daytona. That's all coming up with the duels. But your final take of this race. Oh, and by the way, look at the rubber buildup. Remember we mentioned missing the outside wall and missing the marbles, the tater patches they call in the dirt world, the marbles in pavement. We saw that happen a lot of time. I think those marbles had a lot to do with the outcome of how the race finished, and you can even see a lot of it on the bottom of the racing groove as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. These drivers put their work in on tires, and they gave it great long runs. That's what we like seeing, long green flag racing, but sometimes it's not exciting. But today, that definitely wasn't the case. It was a thrill from end to end to watch these guys go, and they definitely kept their memories sharp. We saw a great battle, Matthews and Roberts at each other. We saw some racing revenge at the end, and from flag to flag, that race gave us everything we were looking for. It's hard at a short track to see the excitement from beginning to end, but these drivers definitely kept us on our feet the entire time. That doesn't happen always, and it's a great thing when it does. So really, a race to look back on fondly when it's all been said and done, and one put in our history books, another great icebreaker.
Cody Demers, I know you've been the silent type all night, except in our ear, like the voice of Sim God, if you will, directing the broadcast. But your final take of this, obviously, icebreaker, and just the start of things for a big weekend on Elevated TV, sir.
Yeah, man, it takes a lot to go in. I mean, I actually went to work this morning from 8 to noon. I come home, I threw everything together last night, tried to get everything going, threw things together. When I got home from work, I jumped on the computer and was still working. So, I literally put things together up until, 2:01 and when the pre-roll was going. So, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes, and couldn't do it without you and David coming in here and all the fans at home watching. I mean, if we didn't have nobody watching, it'd be pointless to sit here and, we basically just talking to ourselves. So, appreciate everybody at home watching.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our coverage of the second annual Icebreaker. I want to say thank you again to all of our credits, including USA Tire, Sager Pros, FTN Broadcasting, Elevated TV, and, of course, on the Community Radio Network. From the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway, congratulations to the driver of David Roberts picking up the win. What's coming up next? Well, about an hour from now, top of the hour at 4 p.m. Eastern, we got coverage of the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN Broadcasting. David Cruance and Jacob Reeves, the redneck announcer, I believe, is going to be thrown into the fold. Special driver commentary from our driver analyst, Braxton Weiss, Ryan Tomford, along with Cody Demers and myself on the crew for the rest of the weekend. And don't forget, tomorrow at Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, it is the second annual Elevated TV Sim 500, presented by Stagger Pros. One more time from Myrtle Beach until next year, we congratulate David Roberts, waiting for the right time to get around the pole. Man, Tyler Matthews took the lead, never looked back, and he wins the second edition of the Icebreaker. For Cody Demers on production, for David Cruance, this is Wesley Owen, congratulating Mr. Roberts, thanking you for the Icebreaker until 2027. See you then. We'll stop the hour. In CRN. Good afternoon. This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of Elevated Broadcasting. Elevated TV would like to thank all of our fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Pushing it hard from dirt to pavement, sticking ball if it's competition. We cover it all, no rewind, no second take. Every call, every break, from the opening whistle to the final score. We bring the war, you watch. filter, no delay. If it happens, it's on display. From hometown heroes to legends made, this is history. Broadcast great. Count it down. 3, 2, 1, go. Turn it up. Elevated TV. Feel the speed, feel the energy. Every roar, every victory. This is the life, Elevated TV. When the moment matters most, we're the signal coast to coast. Live the fight, live the dream, high and louder. Elevated TV. When the lights go out and the dust still flies, we're still rolling, broadcasting the rise. If it's fast, if it's real, you know where to be. Elevated TV. Elevated TV. Lights on, screens glow, engines ready, let's go. Friday night, neon skies, fire in the stands, steel in our eyes. Green flag waves, heartbeats loud, every moment screams to the crowd. From dirt to asphalt, coast to coast, legends rise where it matters most. If it's speed, if it's fight, if it's victory, you know where you gotta be. Turn the volume up, feel the sound. This is where the champions are found. Every hit, every call, every play, we bring the action your way. Elevated TV, turn it up tonight. Broadcasting races, sports and the fight. From the first green flag to the final score, we're living it loud, always wanting more. Elevated TV, feel the heat. Front row action, every seat. When the lights go on, you know you'll see the best of the best on Elevated TV. Crunchy paths, row of crowds, photo finish, the scream so loud. Every lap, every pass, every play, history made in real time replay. No filters, no fear, no rewind. We capture the edge, freeze the line. If it's fast, if it's raw, if it's real, we show you how champions feel. Turn the cameras, roll it live. This is the rush that keeps us alive. Every second, every frame, we're broadcasting more than a game. Elevated TV, turn it up tonight. Broadcasting races, sports and the fight. From the first green flag to the final score, we're living it loud, always wanting more. Elevated TV, feel the heat. Front row action, every seat. When the lights go on, you know you'll see the best of the best on Elevated TV. Friday night lights, engine scream, crowd on their feet, living the dream. From the green flag to the final lap, every hit, every crash, we got it mapped. Cameras roll, adrenaline high, every second flies by. Live if you wanna feel the thunder shake, tune it in, don't blink, don't wait. From the pits to the podium stand, we bring the fire passion. We cover it all, no rewind, no second take. Every call, every break, from the opening whistle to the final score, we bring the war you're watching for. When the pressure's high and the moment's tight, we're on the air, igniting the night. Turn it up, Elevated TV, racing hearts as far as you can see. Every moment, every play, every scene, this is the rush, Elevated TV. Lights go red, lights go green. If it moves fast, you know what we mean. Living loud, raw and free. This is the sound of Elevated TV. No filter, no delay. If it happens, it's on display. From hometown heroes to legends made, this is history. Broadcast great. Count it down. 3, 2, 1, go. Turn it up, Elevated TV. Feel the speed, feel the energy. Every roar, every victory. This is the life, Elevated TV. When the moment matters most, we're the signal coast to coast. Live the fight, live the dream, high and louder, Elevated TV. When the lights go out and the dust still flies, we're still rolling, broadcasting the rise. If it's fast, if it's real, you know where to be. Elevated TV. Elevated TV. Lights on, screens glow, engines ready, let's go. Friday night, neon skies, fire in the stands, steel in our eyes. Green flag waves, heartbeats loud, every moment screams to the crowd. From dirt to asphalt, coast to coast, legends rise where it matters most. If it's speed, if it's fight, if it's victory, you know where you gotta be. Turn the volume up, feel the sound. This is where the champions are found. Every hit, every call, every play, we bring the action your way. Elevated TV, turn it up tonight. Broadcasting races, sports and the fight. From the first green flag to the final score, we're living it loud, always wanting more. Elevated TV, feel the heat. Front row action, every seat. When the lights go on, you know you'll see the best of the best on Elevated TV. Crunch of paths, row of crowds, photo finish, scream so loud. Every lap, every pass, every play, history made in real time replay. No filters, no fear, no rewind. We capture the edge, freeze the line. If it's fast, if it's raw, if it's real, we show you how champions feel. Turn the cameras, roll it live. This is the rush that keeps us alive. Every second, every frame, we're broadcasting more than a game. Elevated TV, turn it up. fast, we let it go. Elevated TV, raise your hands. We bring the fire across the land. Race day, game night, victory. This is your home for adrenaline. Elevated TV, no limits, no delay. Live the moment, don't look away when the engines roar and the crowd believes you're watching it live on Elevated TV. On Elevated TV. Lights fade. Crowd still screams. We don't just show the action. We elevate it.
From the virtual world center of racing, the Daytona International Speedway, Elevated TV, CRN, FTN welcomes you to coverage of the Elevated TV 500 Duels at Daytona. Tomorrow, the second edition of the Elevated TV Sim 500 at Daytona will get underway. But for today on this afternoon in February, it is preliminary night. Afternoon qualifying races are right now the focus as two 150-mile qualifiers, 60 laps in each, are about to get going. And we welcome you to our broadcast coverage from Daytona Beach, Florida. Make sure you add beach there on the top of the right. Daytona Beach, Florida is where we are. This awesome racetrack, the world center of racing. And honestly, David Cruance, Wesley Outland, Cody Deemers is with you. We're ready to see what these guys will do. This is a lid lifter, if you will, to get a chance to see what kind of car you have before the big Elevated TV Sim 500 tomorrow, right here in Daytona. After, obviously, David Roberts winning the Icebreaker, now the big boys in Daytona, David, are ready to battle the world center of racing. Good afternoon again.
It's a great day of racing on Elevated TV, and now we take it to the World Center of Racing, as you said, Wesley, the best place to finish it off. High speed, high attrition sometimes. Hopefully drivers stay in it as well. This is as quick as it gets. The action, of course, the question becomes, what are we going to see of it? These are some of the fastest drivers that we bring together here on our iRacing simulators. We got the best AIs. We got a great race going, of course, to begin the day at Myrtle Beach, but this looks a lot different, a lot up in the air, but it's a familiar racetrack, and it always has a different flavor of excitement no matter when we go. First one's going to set the tone. The first duel, the second race, going to be a little bit different, of course, all the drivers following in that influence. Now, of course, it's that first lap. That's what sets it off, and that's very easy to say about any race, but the excitement at Daytona is different from anywhere else, and we are moments away from reliving it all over again. And this is the final lead up to the big race tomorrow, the Elevated 500, so watch out for that.
You're exactly right, and right now we're about ready to get these drivers introduced for duel number one. The field is not wasting any time. We'll pause on the radio, and the lineup for duel one is next.
You're listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification. This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
And back here at the World Center of Racing at Daytona, these drivers are getting strapped in AI-wise, and we're ready to introduce the starting lineup for the virtual Sim 500, I'm sorry, Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels right now, presented by FTN Broadcasting. By the way, hit that QR code and it'll take you to the new Elevated TV, now coming soon on Roku. Noah Gregson is on the pole. To the outside of him is Ty Dillon for, of course, RCR. Row number 1. Row 2, Austin Cindric, a former winner of the 500. And Daniel Suarez now for Spire Motorsports. He'll be on the outside. Row number 3 on the grid finds Kyle Busch, the driver of the number 8. And finally, Ty Gibbs, the young hot shoe and former Xfinity champion. Shane Van Gisbergen from Auckland, New Zealand, the man who dominated on the road courses. And Bubba Wallace to the outside, a former runner-up twice in the 500. Moving on to row number 5, Denny Hamlin, a 3-time winner. And Chris Busser from Texas, ready to go for RFK 10th. David.
Just after Butcher, you got Kyle Larson and Josh Berry 11th and 12th. Alex Bowman goes 13th, and Ryan Preece is P14 with Riley Herbst in the 15th place. Cody Ware 16th. 17th place is the last of these guys for the, of course, Eric Jones crew. Brad Keselowski, the 6th machine, row 9, he ends it. You'll have Austin Dillon and John Hunter Nemechek. They are 19th and 20th, the final drivers in this lineup.
Now remember, this race will be determined for the inside of the race tomorrow for the, of course, second annual Elevated TV Sim 500 at Daytona, presented by Stagger Pros. The duels are presented by FTN Broadcasting. And David, here is the details of tonight's race information. You got it.
Well, look at that. 60 laps for each duel. Caution laps do indeed count, so that won't be a problem. They could go for a little bit longer. 3 green-white checkers available if we need them. 1 faster pair, a second chance for everyone, and 2 sets of tires. We are expecting to see, at the very least, 1 green flag pit stop in each of these races, the way that we set things up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the engines are about to fire right here in Daytona, but I think first, are we going to go trackside for opening ceremonies? Let's do that, as these drivers will be ready to fire the engines when we come back after the invocation and our national anthem before we get it started here at Daytona in Duel 1 next.
Will you please join me for a minute of prayer? God, we just want to thank you for this beautiful day of racing you've provided for us here in Martinsville. We recognize all the pain that goes on in our world, and we're thinking about those who are suffering this week in Maine, abroad, and in our own lives. Events like today help us remember there is also so much good in the United States, world, and our lives, and we appreciate the time we get to have here together to compete and relax. I pray that it may be a great day and a safe day, full of good memories for our fans, our track workers, and competitors. I pray that you may continue to bless our first responders and military who have protected our freedoms required for us to have the right to be here today and in future days to come. Finally, Lord, we are all very much such a work in progress. I pray you may help each and every one here to be the best they can be, and that their efforts may honor you. Amen.
and to start Duel 1 here at Daytona. Obviously, FTN Broadcasting sponsoring the Duels today.
It's about time. 20 drivers, some of the best in the business here from Daytona International Speedway, and we are getting ready to let them loose. Drivers, start your engines! 20 taking the field for this duel, and they're about to roll off pit road. 200 miles an hour coming your way, Wesley.
The field has been introduced, and we certainly hope that you're ready, wherever you are, for this entertaining gala of speed, fury, and virtual AI mayhem. To answer the question for some of these people, like my buddy in Australia, Nick Burling of the Burling Motor Group that's watching the broadcast, these drivers are a mimic of the NASCAR Cup Series AI iRacing version. David, I feel like I just got a headache saying what that meant. Can you please elaborate more on what we're going to see?
Well, of course, what we're due to see tonight is setting the picture for what's next to come. So, I mean, the duels, as they are in the NASCAR Cup Series, this is what gets our lineup going for the big race. So it's a lot like the heat racing we do with like shorter tracks or in the local scene here. That's the only time we see in the national level. These drivers, duel number one, going to be fighting on that inside line qualifying wise. Outside is what you're going to see at a duel number two here. So this is really the battle for the pole position, all things considered. Advantage is going to be big for the drivers who line up in front. But of course, all of them have a chance. These duels, pack racing, means everyone's at the same speed more or less, and drafting is going to be king. Another thing, SuperSpeedway race with only 20 drivers means there's a lot of racetrack available for a smaller field. What we've seen, of course, throughout the past few weeks, and what we saw earlier today at Myrtle Beach, small track, about the same field. Now you have 2.5 miles to play with. Track is not a problem. It's drivers, it's communication, it's a game of driver on driver. You're not much worried about the track, you're worried about getting around the right people. And Wesley, it's about time now for the first 60 laps that we get things going and see that battle truly unfold for the first time this Elevated Speed Week.
The inside row will be determined for tomorrow's second edition of the Elevated TV Sim 500 at Daytona. But right now, Duel 1 comes to the line, green flag in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. The road going into turn one is 31 degrees of banking. They're climbing it now, heading into front of you, David Gruitz, on the opening go.
Ty Dillon's got a slight advantage on the inside line. They're all double file as they were to begin with. It's going to be toe-to-toe, and it's 2x2. 60 of these laps coming at us for this first duel here, and drivers are settled in one by one in line on both of their respective rows. Not much different from what we expected early on. Probably going to see some good, calm, and collected racing for these early laps. Give these drivers time.
I'm sorry, David. Here they come, working off of turn number 4. Coming down to the line. 1 lap in, 59 to go. Ty Dillon down to the inside. He'll lead the opening lap. Dillon, now Gregson. Cindric, it's a 3-car horse fight for the lead of the early going. Back into turn 1. Cindric up the outside, and we're already 3 wide for the lead.
That's the worst place to be for Noah Gragson. Caught 3 wide in the middle, and look how fast he's losing position. And he's got no help. Stuck 3 in the middle is going to drop him all the way to the back of the field unless he slots in on that inside line. But I don't think he's going to have anyone coming to save him. And that is the worst possible place to be in. Gragson not going to get that opening on the inside. That's going to drop him all the way back to outside the top 15 and maybe even to the back of the field outright. A fast drop. Gragson gets in line in 11th. Pretty lucky, all things considered.
Staying right there in line all the while, as you just mentioned. Here they come, stacked up side by side. The outside lane starting to lose a little ground on the first 4 cars on the bottom of the racetrack, led by Dillon, Busch, Hamlin, Cindric. Cindric up the outside, tries to get him going again on the middle lane as they work into 2.
Austin Cindric in the outside, definitely getting shuffled out of line or out of position early in this run-in. Doesn't look like it's going to work out too well for the outer groove, the way things are. The inside has strength. Better yet, it has strength in numbers, which means that right now, these drivers are definitely going to have an advantage just by cutting low.
Got a little antsy there for just a moment. Patience indeed as we watch now Cindric on the outside, battling with the lead. That's now the number 8 machine. All this going on. There's Noah Gregson. This is back inside the top 10 as they go back up again, up to ranking 31 degrees, working back into turn number 1 and 2.
Gregson definitely has a better spot than we expected, given how far back he fell. 7th place, again in the single digits position-wise, so his night is not over. In fact, he's got a good chance of recovering himself and rebounding early. But 4 laps in, there's still a lot of time, so it's also about being patient even when you're getting confident again. Leader Ty Dillon hasn't had any problems in maintaining that lead right now. He really doesn't have much competition. However, that could change, and most likely it is going to change. It's just a matter of time until that point.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, obviously, right? We're ready to see what these guys will do here as they'll work their way back in the corner again. Now it's Ty Dillon from Welcome, North Carolina, up in front. Kyle Busch right now in the number 2 position of that number 8 Zone Water Energy number 8 machine for Richard Childress. It's RCR, unbelievably right now. 1 and 2, Gibbs Toyota, Denny Hamlin, Spire Motorsports, Suarez, 2311, Bubba Wallace, Hendrick, Kyle Larson. All this going on as they work to get out of turn 4.
And as they run, still the inside powerful, and as a matter of fact, more than it has been all night long. I mean, take a look now at the disadvantage if you're outside of that inside group. That second group is tiny now and has far fewer drivers, and with fewer drivers means less speed. These drivers training with one another, getting that draft in effect. They're all with each other at speed, and now they're locked into positions. It looks like most drivers are now fully locked in. They're not going to be taking any risks right now. It's a calm and collected game being played out in front.
What a drive as Hamlin now pulls out of line up on the outside. He now falls out of line on the bottom with the front runners. And this one out put something to get started with Hamlin now hooking up with possibly those other cars, as right now Dillon on the inside. Kyle Busch will follow. Right now, everybody playing nice. The opening 5 laps now. Lap 6 for the back straightaway.
Nice to see them playing nice. It's not going to last forever, but right now things do seem pretty calm and collected. And I think that if you're a driver at the head of the field, take advantage of that. If you're in the top 10, I wouldn't be too shocked if some of these drivers are going to try to start pushing their way to go a little bit forward. I think that's going to be, honestly, I think that's going to be the right thing to do. You don't want to get yourself caught up in the upper mid-pack and not really have any way to keep moving up for positions. Instead, you want to keep finding those openings and closing those gaps. Nobody's going to be nice to you in the last moments of the race, so why not start preparing for what's yet to come? Now the future of this race is ahead of us here. These first 30 or so laps are going to come without incident. I think the green flag pit cycle we're anticipating is going to be the next big thing, and that is still, at the very least, 10 or 15 laps away from us here.
Almost a shove out of line, trying to get Hamlin getting something working on that outside down middle lane. Kyle Larson now streaming up the middle lane, the 2-time NASCAR and defending Cup Series champion with a help by Riley Herbst Toyota. Chevrolet, Toyota, Hamlin now in the middle lane as Dillon still protects the inside of the double yellow line as they lead the way coming out of turn 4 for lap 8 here in duel number 1.
Dillon has led every lap, every moment. The outside has changed hands. Kyle Larson, for the first time tonight, he's got the advantage on that outer groove, and it looks like, with that being said, I don't know what he's going to do with it. He's got the edge, but at the very same time, that advantage, it doesn't mean that he's going to be able to pull all those positions back, so it's hard. Having the outside lines of your own is a great thing, but if you can't find help from outside, I don't know if it's going to save him. Not yet anyway, and he's going to have to do a lot of hoping right now that these drivers ahead of him are maybe more cooperative. The inside guys seem to be comfortable with each other. They're not moving anywhere. It's the number 5 strung out and hung out to dry. There hasn't been much change around him. He is stuck where he is.
Let's give you your top 5 right now. Ty Dillon leads the way over Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, and Alex Bowman. That's 4 Chevrolet bow ties and a blue Ford in the top 5 right now. Then it's the Toyota with Eric Jones, followed by Kyle Larson, Noah Gregson, Riley Herbst, and Brad Keselowski, your top 10. That's the way they are. As the leader, Dillon stays to the inside, works the leader in turn 3.
Ty Dillon with a stranglehold on the upper portion of the field right now. Kyle Busch being loyal right behind. You got 2 Chevrolets working with each other. I don't think that makes too much of a difference, but tonight anyway, it looks like those guys are working well with each other. That's all that counts, at least for now. Compatibility and just playing nice. It's going to matter a lot more in the first half right now. That's exactly why you're seeing it. Later on, absolutely not. But this is what it comes down to when you're preparing for the long run. If you don't settle yourself in and find people that help you, you're not going to end up succeeding.
I think you're dead on that again. As right now, here come the leaders working back down to the inside of the racetrack, led right now with Dillon. Dillon in line, the Cheddar's Chevrolet, of course, of Kyle Busch right there in second. And how about now Daniel Suarez driving now for Spire Motorsport. He now sitting in third. Everybody is single file as they rock, roll, and rumble virtually. Back up the 19 again, David, into turn number 1. Working now 25 miles into this race.
Got to ask you, Wesley, you think that Kyle Larson on that outside line is going to get any help here? It looks like he's pretty much stranded, and nobody has decided to go through and figure something out. To go up there, it's a big risk. I know it's a big risk. I think that's going to be the thing that distracts or dissuades these drivers from doing it. But with that in mind, who's going to be the one who risks it all, and will there be a big payoff from it? I think, honestly, yes. But right now, when you see strength and numbers ahead of you, it's very hard to convince yourself to do it.
I think you're exactly dead on that, man, for sure, as we continue to see these guys work back through the tri-oval, obviously, but still, obviously, Ty Dillon continuing to stay to the inside. When does Kyle Busch pull out of line? When does Suarez or Buescher, for that matter, or maybe even Alex Bowman? Obviously, you don't get until 6th position where Eric Jones and Kyle Larson battle side by side. That's the, of course, Legacy Motor Club 43 for Michigan's Eric Jones and the California driver for Hendrick and the Chevrolet of Larson. Other than that, it's single file up in the front, and nobody is showing any act of Congress to go to P1 at the moment out of 4.
Yeah, it's not only at this point patience, but it's also these drivers just settling in for fuel reasons, as now we have a look to the outside, and that look is from Kyle Busch. That's a big risk for a driver who is running already in the 2nd position. And while immediately it doesn't pay off, at least doesn't pay off at first, that's a huge deal. That's going to help the outside line in a big way. Now you've got more drivers there. Of course, it looks like Chris Buescher also decided to make the call. But also, with confidence comes more speed. The fuel game is going to be a big deal. Again, we're on a little bit of a fuel restriction. That means that by the time we get in to pit road, which is going to be around halfway, these drivers have to go there. Not going to be a choice. It's something that they just have to do. And with that being said, more drivers ahead of you on the outside groove also means you can lay back more. Not going to be putting down the power as much. So that's a huge deal for the drivers who are in the back of that pack and the front. Now it's stronger and faster. They won't have to worry too much about the fuel considerations than they did before.
Now as they work back into the banking off of turn number 1 and 2 down the Daytona super stretch, if you will. And right now it is Dillon. And as we mentioned, who jumps out of line? But for right now, I got to give these guys kudos. The smart strategy is to do exactly what they're doing. But again, as you mentioned, as you look at the track map, everybody on the racetrack right there, stacked with one another. The field from first to last, separated by 0.2 of a second as they come thundering across the line on lap 15, down back to turn 1 with Dillon still in the lead going to the corner, David.
I'll concede and say it might not look exciting, but when you think about the numbers and you think about the times, if one of them wrecks, they're done. I mean, you could have the last place guy end up winning this race, off a wrecking turn 4 that takes absolutely everyone else out. It's that simple, but at the very same time, it's a complex situation. They're so close, which means there's nowhere to run or to hide. Hard to deal with if you're one of those drivers looking for the lead right now. Unless you're Ty Dillon, you are not home free. Kyle Busch right now, it looks like that gamble not paying off immediately here as he's slowly drifting back.
All this going on now as they work back through the tri-oval, full speed ahead past the United Rentals restart zone, back across start finish, and already Rock backing into Turner 1 as they funnel back out into the turn. It's still Dillon down on the inside. He's got the momentum, and now that outside lane led by Kyle Busch. Busch was in second. He got greedy. He pulled out of line. What happens now, David? You fall to the back of the line, and now he leads the outside middle lane going into turn number 2 and 3.
Well, it's as simple as that. 17 laps in, greed will kill a run at Daytona, unless it's the white flag lap. But right now, since it's not, that's exactly what happens. You try to go for that advantage, 9 times out of 10, risking it isn't going to get you a one-lap payoff. And that's how it pays off for the back half of the field, and particularly Kyle Busch. You're now seeing Keselowski get ahead of him. Brad takes the outside lead, but still, these drivers are stuck in the middle. Notice that they haven't really fallen back to the end of the inside line. The side draft is really the only thing that's kept them in the mix here. These drivers are lined up right alongside the inside groove, and they're taking away a little bit of that speed with that dirty air pushing back on the inside from the top of the track. That's keeping everyone at the same speed, and while the outside groove might not be faster, they are slowing down that back half a little bit. That's why they're still competitive right now.
All the while, now Daniel Suarez will get the opportunity now with Spire Motorsports to get a chance to move into that second spot. Look up high. That's Brad Keselowski, by the way. A little shuck and jive move with a little bump from Kyle Busch. Got him some dirty air. He's got to tuck back in line. Busch has now Buscher behind him, pardon the pun. And those guys now fight claw. That spot now going into turn 1. And Buscher and Hendrick and Kyle Busch, they're falling back the inside lane. It's full steam ahead out of turn 4.
New leader on the outside, as you called it there, Wesley. Eric Jones. Drivers are trying different things. Some guys sliding back up. Some drivers running it out. Most of which have, of course, stayed on the racing circuit on the inside. We haven't seen a lot of movement, but that's been the story of the race so far. 20 laps in at a 60 halfway point. Coming in at lap number 30. That's the halfway point of this duel, and that's most likely when drivers are going to be heading down to pit road. Don't be too shocked when they do. It's necessary to make it to the end of this race. A fuel cap means that they can't go much more than 75 miles at full pace, and while there's some saving, a little bit back and forth, it's coming close, and that's going to be the biggest shakeup of this run. It's coming in. It's only a few minutes away from us now.
20 laps, 1/3 of the way through as the field comes funneling back across the start-finish line. 40 laps to go, 50 miles in, 100 miles remain. And in about the next 20 laps or so, we'll see drivers coming down to the pit lane, and in 10 laps, we're halfway. Top 10 at the moment. Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Brad Keselowski now up 15 spots for third. He's looking for more. He's now up to second. He's up to the lead. Keselowski to the lead. He goes to the front spot as they go into turn 1.
Credit to the fourth man on that outside groove, and you can't see him right now, but Brad Keselowski just got the perfect shove. And I think the credit goes back to Daniel Suarez, who's fourth on that outside line. Now, Ty Dillon uses the outside line to reclaim the lead. First time all race long, the outside is preferred off the back of an amazing 1, 2, 3, 4 shove that put Brad up front, and Ty just took it right back.
Can we just say he wants that spot back, and he will retain that position back. Meanwhile, behind the side-by-side racing, about the first 6 rows of a dozen cars behind them, they are now 3 wide. Dylan, Cindric, and others. Austin Dillon, brother to Ty in that mix as well. And here comes now Ryan Priest working behind Bubba Wallace as they work again out of 4.
Wallace down the straight here. Just behind on the front straight here, it's going to be just ahead, Brad Keselowski. Second man is now Wallace on the outer groove, and you might notice a few big changes when we look at it from the wider angle here. And as you can see, Noah Gragson now back up inside the top 5. He fell back to as low as 11th early in the going. Things have changed, however, and Gragson's played it nicely, going from split 3 wide middle on lap number 1. Now finding himself back in the top 5. Good recovery. A lot of time. Now, the issue is, what's he going to do next? Pit road is going to be the game changer. Do you go in a little bit earlier, the undercut approach, or do you go a little bit later and try to run that first stint long? I don't think fuel is going to be the number one problem. It just comes down to having a group that goes with you. Going alone to pit road at Daytona is basically a death sentence for your race. Nobody around you, nobody to draft off of. I'm probably going to say it and predict it anyway, that most of this field is going to come down within 2 to 3 laps.
Say something here, smart ass Cody and Cody Devers as well. It's the Cody pick on of the announcer. I literally just got reprimanded, and I'm the damn play-by-play man. They just told me that I've been given a warning in the chat box, David, for using too many capital letters, and I'm the host. Nonetheless, coming to lap 25, next time by, it is Ty Dillon in the lead. Suarez, Jones, Gregson, Busher top 5, Bowman, Wallace, Keselowski, and Perry. Now, where your top 10? I remembered I mentioned that the last time around because I didn't get to finish it, because that's when Keselowski tried to make a little noise. He's now back outside the top 10 as they work again in turn 2 there, David.
Dylan was able to manage that outside line crisis really well, and that's going to shoot the outside all the way back. For a brief moment there, it looked like they had a chance to really make it a consistent hunt on the outer groove. Not so much anymore, but look who benefited big. Daniel Suarez. Suarez was the guy who kicked that momentum off on the outside, got Keselowski the lead, and it looks like he was able to jump ship at just the right time. That is smart racing. He played a big role, got other drivers ahead, but only for the short term. Took their spots, and now has one of the best positions on the racetrack. If he wants to win this race, he is in the catbird seat behind the dominant and clearly dominant man. It's a great deal for him right now.
LSR TV, you're about to be booted from the server. Ty Dillon leads the way with Suarez in second, followed by Noah Gragson third. I can mess with Charles Wooten and LSR TV because obviously I work with him. We're getting ready for another year of the Northwest Racing Series. ARCA and trucks coming up in, I believe, February or March for 2026. And obviously Cody Demers does some producing with Charles in the past as well. Here they come, working about a handful of laps to halfway. 25 completed, 35 to go. And Dillon at one time had a little burst of momentum of drivers trying to run him down for the lead. He quickly retaliated and got it back. He's in the lead, but now Noah Gragson wants to lead to the number 4 as they work in 2.
Now, Noah Gragson. We haven't heard that since the beginning of this race, and he's got momentum and a great push. Again, it looks like when 4 drivers on the inside get linked up, the front 4 anyway, bumper to bumper, they are fast. Alex Bowman now going to try to get a little bit of help from Austin Cindric, but look at how when Gragson gets off of that line, Wallace, Jones, Bowman all become so much slower. They lose that big link, and when the draft disappears right from their view, they drop back again. It's a cycle.
Absolutely.
It's up and down.
Yes, sir, and it absolutely does work. And it looks like right now, honestly, what we're seeing, everybody committed to the inside. David, why is that? Are they afraid to go to the bottom, or is that where the best line on the racetrack is to be right now, you think?
I think it's the best line to be. on the basis of fuel. I think if you're saving, you gotta go there. I mean, it makes complete sense. You run the inside line, you're spending less fuel because you're running less distance. So that's the reason a lot of these drivers are cramped in there, because they know they have to go down to pit road. Oh, big up there. We got a whole lane that just went to the third groove. We haven't seen that since lap 1.
Is it too early for that to be going 3 wide up on the outside lane up against the safer barrier right now in the early going? Meanwhile, Gregson powers around Dillon. Dillon falling back to third or fourth. Busher buried now. Here comes new leaders in the front podium into turn 1 and 2 on lap 30 next time by.
Here's my take. It's never too early, but it's never too smart to do that. Luckily, everyone else got away from that. 29 laps in. We haven't seen a lot of 3 wide, though. I'll give the drivers credit. But when that starts to flash up in the picture, you only got to wonder how long until everything implodes.
And will that happen? You're exactly right, as they will work their way now into the corner, this time by working lap number 29, a lap to halfway so far. 3 lead changes, blue line soft wash, racing recap. They'll see the cross flags next time by, and in the next 10, unless they go for an undercut of laps, we'll see pit stops possibly. We know, David, they're gonna have to pit, even if it's just for fuel only, as they work the back straightaway.
Double file again, and a calm double file. Chris Buescher, Noah Gragson, not too dissimilar to when it all began. Remember, Noah Gragson was one of the drivers at the head of the field when it all got started. He is now right back where he was, starting on the front row, but Chris Buescher is actually the biggest mover of this entire race. He's got up 9 places. Nobody else has gone up more than 8. So the man who started it and the man who's worked the hardest to get there, they're the drivers who begin the second half. Half one over, it's Buescher in the flag-to-flag first half who leads us to the second.
Massive cloud cover now as they close in on the cross flags. 75 miles down, 75 miles to go. And here's David and I with a full field rundown of Duel 1 here for the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels, presented by FTN Broadcasting. It is Chris Buescher now, the leader. Noah Gragson second, Josh Perry third, Ty Dillon fourth. They flip-flop for positions along with Austin Cindric, Ryan Priest, Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez, Riley Herbst, Bubba Wallace. Toyota now leads in the top 10 at halfway.
Just after that, Kyle Busch, who's fallen back there to 11th, is alongside Eric Jones with John Hunter Nemechek, Alex Bowman, and Brad Keselowski lapping up as the final man in the top 15. Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Cody Ware, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Dillon are the last on the field. We're wrapping up your 20, who are only separate now by 7/10 of a second. A little bit more than it was before, but still less than a second across all drivers.
Wild indeed, but instead we still continue on with this one. This is the Duels, Duel 1 inside for tomorrow's 2 p.m. Eastern start time of the Elevated TV 500, presented by Stagger Pros. And right now, here comes Buescher, locked to the inside. Prosper, Texas, driving on the inside, leads the Roush Fenway Keselowski driver of Gregson, Dillon, RCR, Penske, Cindric, Wood Brothers, Barry, Hendrick right now, trying to get back in the top 5 for Larson as they work inside in 1 and 2.
Chris Buescher, Noah Gragson, Ty Dillon, Austin Cindric, and now Kyle Larson. Notably, Larson, a previous leader of the outside groove. Dillon has led both lanes. Chris Buescher's had to work his way up to get here. It's a completely different composition. 33 laps in, let's talk about fuel a little bit. So far, these drivers have used about 82.5 miles of fuel, which means that no matter what, they're coming up on their pit lap time within the next 10 laps at absolute most. We are not going to see these drivers go for more than 100 laps on fuel, and so before lap 40, I'm looking at the numbers here, and I'm saying that these drivers will go in for their first and potentially their only stop of the night. This pit stop has the risk of breaking the entire field up and keeping it broken all night long here. So there's a big problem for some of these guys. If they don't end up, of course, in the right place on the way out, could be game over for them. You got to be really, really smart about how you do this. And I think that it's best if the entire field goes in in 2 or 3 packs rather than going as individuals here. Dillon trying to get a run on the outside on Chris Buescher with big help from Suarez on up. That's the run he needs. And again, Suarez begins it by kicking it off in 4th on the outside line. He's been amazing at doing that. He's done it twice now for the outer groove.
Question, David, to add to that, as we are in the second half of this race now, pit lane should be opening up here in about a couple of laps or even less than that for those that decide to go for the undercut. Speaking of undercut, do you take fuel only or do you take that new set of tires? How important is the new set of tires here now as we close in on the second half of Duel 1?
I don't think the tires are going to be the important part. What I do think the important part is going to be is, of course, fuel. I think that's pretty undeniable. I think the drivers are going to be going in exclusively looking for fuel to get this race over with. So honestly, if you were to skip and go without getting any sort of tire, you could have a big advantage. I don't think any driver is going to do that. It's very unlikely they do, but in theory you could, and it could actually be a race-changing move that really helps you out. Tires haven't been a big deal so far. Drivers look to be pretty much in control of their equipment, but with that being the case, well, it runs the risk of going for old tires for all 60 laps, which might be worse than what we've seen so far, but given that we haven't had any control problems tonight, I think fuel only could be the winning call.
My producer, Cody Deemers, tell me he's thinking that they're going to be coming down to the pit lane at lap number 41. And remember, so far, no yellow flag in this race. Everybody has been stacked up with each other. 7/10 of a second now from first to the man leading of Dillon to the anchor of Jones in the back. Your top 20 are, and they work again out of turn number 2.
37 laps in, I think Ty Dillon still going to be the firm favorite to win. He controls not only the field as they run, but also controls when they go to pit road. If you are, of course, behind Ty Dillon, there's nothing you can do. It's as simple as that. And he's got the fundamentals of this race locked down, but look at the outside. Now it looks like Dillon, he's too far ahead. That's going to be a problem here. Well, that's why he's going into pit road first of anyone else. And he's going in alone.
And before lap 40, coming down to the pit lane is Ty Dillon. He is by himself. Nobody, not even teammates for RCR, not even his brother comes to the pit lane yet. All by myself. Cue up the band. What will happen is now Bryson leads him again out of turn 2.
I think that's a race ender for Ty Dillon, actually. And that's the consequence of leading all this time. He wore out the fuel a little bit earlier than everyone else by leading and getting that clean air, but he had to push harder to stay there, which means he lost about 2 or 3 laps that these drivers didn't have to worry about. That's huge and a huge negative. I think it's going to end up putting him 1 lap down and far out of the leading conversation when it's all said and done.
Now here's the strategy, though, David. We did see now Ty Dillon back out on track. You're going to notice here in just a moment, if you put up the track map, you'll see it. He's on the back straightaway now, heading to turn number 3 as the field with Gregson leading at full song, trying to run him down. Now, here's the mulligan of the deal. He might get lapped before they pit, but when they do pit, though, David, he will get his lap back. But then the question is, he's got to make a whole other revolution around the racetrack to get back to the lead. As right now, nobody's showing signs of pitting as they cut to put lap 39 at the start-finish line here in Daytona.
Well, honestly, Wesley, when you put it that way, it actually doesn't sound that bad when you look into it. Ty had a 7.47 pit time. That's very quick. You know what that means? He did not take tires. So, it's a gamble, but he played his cards right here. Tires haven't been a big factor. He led, he got the fuel, which means by all means, he's going to be on the lead lap when these guys cycle around, and he's going to be on the same strategy. So maybe it's not that bad after all, but a major risk. And had he gone down for tires, it really would have been race over. That would have been an extra 15 to 20 seconds spent on pit road. That would have cost him his night.
major implications now as here they come, coming back down to the line, closing in now on 50 miles remaining, 100 miles completed, 40 laps in the books, and now with 20 to go, it is time, if you're playing Possum, to hit that go button, get up to the front, but remember, you got to pit also as Barry's going after Butcher for the lead in 1 and 2.
Getting our pit road readings. This is it for Chris Buescher. That's why Barry went to the outside. And if it's now time for your new race leader to come in, how many drivers are going to follow him? That's the next question on the menu. Let's find out now. Buescher, number 17, dropping in. Who's going to decide to follow? And it looks like for Chris, nobody. Another lone driver to pit road.
He's got to lock up the rear end of those tires to make sure that he doesn't get busted by the pit road police entering onto the pit lane. Buescher's Ford for RFK really having to lock it up to avoid a penalty. And now in a spot where Dillon was, same as Buescher. Meanwhile, Gregson leads Cindric and Herbst now the new top three of the back straightaway. And they have ran down Ty Dillon to put him a lap down as they work 19 to go in 3.
Dillon's going to be in the draft, so it's not that bad of a situation for him. Chris Buescher, same strategy, no tires, just gas. He had a 7.37 pit stop. He is on the exact same call as Dillon. So neither of them in big jeopardy as another goes down and in. That is your leader, Gregson. He's the third of the night, still waiting on 17 to go to pit road.
Noah Gregson now joining the drivers of Buescher and Dillon as they now bypass that machine in the middle of the pack. And now Cindric, a former Daytona 500 winner, now getting the chance to lead for Team Penske down the back straightaway as they go into their 60th anniversary season for Team Penske here down the back stretch, leading over Barry for the Wood Brothers. For Busch, Kyle Busch, RCR, Hendrick Larson, they're battling going into turn 3.
That type of shuffle can only mean one thing. More to pit road. Watch it. Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, Austin Cindric. 3 drivers making 4 as following them in the back is Eric Jones. That's the biggest bundle we've seen so far. And the pit window is finally coming to life.
Right now, Wallace will now get a chance to put the Pepsi number 23 for 2311 up in front. 2-time runner-up in the 500 from Mobile, Alabama. Bubba, Darrell Wallace Jr. leads them down to the inside. So is John Hunter Nemechek in the Dollar Tree Legacy Motor Club entry. Push from the Gibbs 35 of Herbst. And while that goes on, Monster Energy behind one another, back and forth as they come through the tri-oval. More cars peeling onto pit lane as they come to 16 to go at the line.
Well, now about half the field is gone in. That's Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, and Daniel Suarez in that order. That leaves us with 6 that have not gone down to pit road, and those final will be led now by John Hunter Nemechek. Shane Van Gisbergen for the first time is in the podium too, and Ty Dillon is right there with the leaders, getting the tow. That's going to be a huge deal for him because he is still behind Chris Buescher. If he can find Buescher before everyone goes down to pit road, it's the 10 and the 17 who might just be the favorites based on that undercutting strategy. Nemechek up high, Dillon here going to be blocking all that inside groove, so if the Nemechek car wants to go down to pit road, not this time. 3 more to pit road. Van Gisbergen, Bowman, and it looks like Austin Dillon, a 4th in Ty Gibbs. That leaves 2 out on track, Wesley.
David, another Achilles heel that we're seeing again now as we watch Hunter Nemechek and Ryan Preece now on the racetrack battling. By the way, Ryan Preece, the Berlin, Connecticut driver, coming out for the win in the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray in real life at Winston-Salem at the Madhouse on Wednesday night. His first ever NASCAR scored win, though it is a non-points race. Usually bad luck for Ryan Preece in the last couple of times in Daytona. at the 400 of 2024, 2025 in Daytona. He was up and on his lid, flipping back straight away. A matter of fact, he's the reason why they put grass down on the apron of the Daytona Super Stretch now. The grass is gone. It's all pavement. And while that goes on, here comes Priest and Nemechek on pit road. Shane Van Gisbergen will be showed the new leader when they finally play catch up at the line with 13 to go. He's in turn 3 now, David.
One more driver, just one more to do it. Watching them all cycle up. Ty Dillon still scored at the back of the field, as is Chris Buescher.
Here he comes. Nope, not yet.
He's still got one more lap in him, I think. Just one more. It has to be at this point with 14 to go.
Ridley was thinking he was going to peel down onto the pit lane, but he has not. And by the way, actually, he has pitted. Everybody has pitted, by the way, David. We must have missed it somewhere, but every driver has pitted at least one time. Everybody on pit road.
And there you see on the ticker, the number is even for everyone now. Still looks like Priest gonna find himself advantageous. This is interesting. You got a small bundle up and ahead now, catching up on another.
Here they come. That was Ryan Priest, by the way, who came down to the pits last, and he took the lead, but now he gets bypassed by Van Gisbergen, by Bowman, by Hunter Nemechek. Ryan Priest now back in line for third, ready to settle this one out for the final 30 miles here in Daytona as they go back into the corner into 1 and 2 there, David.
It's going to be at most 7 or 8 drivers competing for the lead right now. The top 20 spread by 28. But take a look at that second pack that's beginning to brew. It's led now by Cody Ware and Eric Jones. They're in 8th and 9th. Take a look. They're bigger. They might just be faster if they can just organize. That's 4 seconds to make up in 13 laps. That's very doable if everyone gets their act together.
Down to the inside of the tri-oval. Here they come across the stripe. It is now Shane Van Gisbergen for Trackhouse and Justin Marks. And the 5-time winner dominated the road courses last year from Auckland, New Zealand. Now, here in the AI world, is dominating here with 12 laps to go when it counts the most down the stretch in Duel 1, presented by CRN. He is up in the P1 spot, but he's got a bullseye on him with Bowman, Priest, Hunter Nemechek, and Herbstall in the top 5, gunning him down in turn number 3 and 4. Coming to the line, David, this time by.
I highly doubt you're going to see anything out of Alex Bowman right now. Track position is king, and if he falls out of line, he's going to fall out of second place. He'd have to wait until that second groove develops if that second pack gets to him. Not a guarantee, but if it does happen, Bowman still has a chance to win. As they run right now, I don't think so. He just needs to bide his time.
This time by, it'll be 11 laps to go. We are in the home stretch of this one. By the way, let's take a look at the Blue Line Soft Wash race summary. Since the drop of the Robbins Racing green flag, we have not seen any calamity whatsoever. 13 lead changes, no cautions, no caution laps. The storm could be brewing, though, as here they come, working into turn number 3 and 4. It's now Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead. There's that second pack led by Kyle Busch in 8th, 9th, 10th. We talk about separation. It happened with these late race pit stops, and we're down to 25 miles to go at the World Center of Racing in Duel 1. David, they're in turn 1.
Shane Bowman, Priest, Nemechek. Those might be the names right now, but watch out for Kyle Busch here, who leads this second group. The only thing is I think that Larson, Gibbs, and Berry need to get in this line. They're on the outside here, taking away speed from the guys they're working around, and that is not at all a good thing. They gotta either, they're gonna tuck in or take the lead of this. But staying side by side is only gonna hurt these guys who have only moved up less than a second over the last 4 laps. That's not enough of a pace to get there and try to fight for the win. If those 3 get behind, they'll probably be upwards of a second faster per lap, and it'll only be less than 5 laps until they get there. It's not quick enough right now, but if those 3 are selfless and sacrifice some position, it could be the ticket to victory.
Single file conga line is about to become a do-si-do two-step of speed as we near the end of Duel 1 here at Daytona.
You're listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification. Like, follow, and share the Community Radio Network via social media, Facebook at CRN Community Radio Network. Also, check us out on X, Instagram, and TikTok at CRN Sports. As always, remember to listen to the games live on your radio dial at 87.9 FM and anywhere worldwide, always at wearecrn.com. This is CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Ground control to Major Van Gisbergen. It's go time. It's pucker time. 8 to go. There you see that second pack led by Kyle Busch, Ware, Jones, Hamlin, Larson, all in that law firm, trying to run down this group of 7 cars. Single file in it to win it. 7 to go for SVG off turn 4.
Yeah, between these two packs is 3.7 seconds. I think now, well, Barry's actually going to drop in. That's a big deal for them. But they lost a half second compared to last time we checked on them. Still, without Larson or Gibbs, there's no chance. If they get those two and they all pull it together as one, they might have an opportunity. There's Daniel Suarez and company, 16th, 17th, and 18th with Noah Gragson. But right now, if Van Gisbergen doesn't have that second pack come up on him, I think he's going to have the checkered flag as clear as day. The track is wide open for him, and he's got full support from Alex Bowman. The white flag might change things, but right now, we are seeing loyalty to a high degree, and I think that's going to be a game saver, of course, for the game plan of Shane Van Gisbergen here. There's no chance unless this pack you're looking at right here gets their act together, and that they haven't.
Working now through the tri-oval. Make it now 6 laps to go. If you're doing the math here in duel number 1, with 6 remaining. Watching all these guys work their way around the track. This is 15 miles left in this one for duel number 1, presented by CRN. Duel 2 coming up as soon as we finish up the works of post-race. Now Busch, Kyle Busch with now Ware right there. That's Cody Ware. Rick Ware racing the 51 down to the inside. Hamlin gives him a push. That's a 3-time winner of the 500, along with the help of Cindric and Jones. All these guys working now from a fan view grandstand camera shot into turn 4 across the tri-oval. 5 to go here in Daytona. If you got something for SVG, you better lay your cards on the table now. It's time to declare checkmate, David, in 1.
Gap is 3.1 seconds, 6/10, a little bit tighter than it was last time. So with 5 to go, there are gains being made. Still not enough. At this rate, pack number 2 has to pull at a speed of more than 1 second per lap if they want an opportunity to really fight for the win. We haven't seen that yet, and that leads me to believe it's down to Van Gisbergen, and it's down to the drivers that he's directly around. So, with that said, I think now, if Shane just holds a tight steering wheel on the inside, there's no way to get around him. Too few drivers to make 2 successful lines. The outside will just fall out of favor. It's now Van Gisbergen against the world, but I think everything's going to play out just right for his cause.
This happened now as they work their way now, nose to tail, single file, 7 cars now in a line. Nobody yet in that second group led by Kyle Busch. Time to get rowdy. He has not been able to catch them yet with under 10 miles remain. Into turn number 3, Shane Van Gisbergen, the Auckland, New Zealand driver, the dominator of the road courses, now trying to lock up the outside of the front row for Daytona in the Elevated TV 500 tomorrow as they come to the line with 3 to go.
3 to go. Single file. It looks like Nemechek going to find himself down to the inside, and he too has conceded. That's a big deal because Nemechek was one of the only drivers who decided the outside was useful. And it looks like with him falling right back out of the way, well, just like that, things have changed. Things have changed big, and that gives Van Gisbergen and it gives Bowman a big, big boost. That opportunity now to lead is basically unchallenged. Just stay where you are, and you'll find yourself the checkered flag as long as you keep things together just right. That's what it's going to be now for Van Gisbergen. 5 miles, 2 laps to go up next.
An ultimate lap of the race now happen as here they come now, storming through the tri-oval, down to the line, this time by, cross the stripe, 2 remaining, 5 miles left. Anybody got anything for SVG? He has waited patiently for this moment. He leads him back into turn number 1.
Not a competition yet for anyone, but on that white flag lap, things could change. The level of aggression has been calm and collected all night long. Bowman is not showing a sign of peaking out yet. Pretty surprised about that. Priest, Dillon, Keselowski, Herbst, all watching. Gap to the second group is still 3 seconds. Game over for them unless everyone here wrecks, which could happen, but it's very unlikely now. 2 coming to 1 lap to go. White flag this time by Wesley. It's about time we finish things off for our first heat of the night. Duel number 1, it's going to be finished like this.
And the white flag, 1 lap to go, presented by W Energy. It is Shane Van Gisbergen, Bowman, Priest right there, nose to tail. They're all playing possum until now. Here comes Priest. He'll jump out of line, open the door to the inside for Bubba Wallace on the back straightaway for the final time.
Van Gisbergen still with the edge, and while one driver going to peek out, that of course being Ryan Priest, the help of Bowman and Wallace will be just enough. Coming across to the checkered flag now, Shane Van Gisbergen with no competition. Looks like now one peeling outside. Austin Dillon side by side with Wallace. He had a lot of speed. It all burns out. Gisbergen, pole sitter for the elevated 500. And while Dillon had just enough speed to fight for it, it wasn't enough. The run off turn 4 doesn't give him the win. Shane Van Gisbergen, pole sitter.
I got a feeling, honestly, that move is about a lap too late, if you will, David, because maybe if they would have made that move on the white flag pushing, maybe with 2 to go, maybe different story. But you cannot do something like that on the white flag lap down the back straightaway, pushing, clawing, shoving to get up there. Couldn't do it. Shane Van Gisbergen, the Kiwi man, the man from Auckland, New Zealand, is going to win duel number 1 presented by CRN in our coverage this afternoon of the Elevated TV 500 Duels, presented by FTN Broadcasting. And what a job for the WeatherTech number 88 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. Maybe a side of things to come. And how about this? Bubba Wallace really tried hard to make a move at the last minute. He fell short. He ends up going all the way to the back, what might have been for that guy. As the mistakes made, he finishes 19th with the checkered flag fail. Unbelievable.
I can't believe it. The way it all falls down at the end, it was a shock to see a run. Dillon really tried. He ends up getting 3rd in that duel, in fact, but just not enough. And Van Gisbergen just working pit road perfect.
By the way, checkered flag has just failed at the real icebreaker about 20 minutes ago. Cover your ears if you don't want to know. In 3, 2, 1, Keelan Harvick has picked up the victory, obviously, for KHI in the Icebreaker 125 at Florence Motor Speedway just about 20 minutes ago. Here's the results for duel number 1 presented by CRN with our coverage of the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN, and Shane Van Gisbergen will pick up the win. Alex Bowman 2nd. Austin Dillon will finish 3rd. Brad Keselowski, Ryan Priest, a top 5 solid run. Riley Herbst, John Hunter Nemechek pushed out of line at the end to end 7th. That second lane couldn't get up there and make a charge. Kyle Busch, Cody Ware, Josh Berry, your top 10 at the end of duel 1.
Just after that, Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Eric Jones in that second pack, with Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs wrapping up the top 15. You'll then have Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, Noah Gragson, Bubba Wallace, and Ty Dillon, the only drivers off the lead lap. Dillon led the most laps, but finishes last to conclude duel number 1 here, Wesley. Fall for him was big, with Shane Van Gisbergen makes up 6 spots and wins it when it's all said and done.
Unbelievable, David. Caution free. No yellow flags in this race. And, we see the final look of the race recap presented by Blue Line Soft Wash. No cautions, no caution laps total ran. 13 lead changes when it's all said and done. And I'll be honest with you, normally when you have a quiet, peaceful, calm duel 1, all hell breaks loose in duel number 2. I gotta wonder if we're gonna see that history repeat itself in just a moment.
Well, here we go. In just a few moments, we're about to find out. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be one to say no. I don't think we're going to see the craziness. I think everything's going to remain just fine. I do. I think the craziness might come if we have a wild pit run. That's the only change.
Well, we already saw drivers come down to the pit lane in duel 1 and take fuel only. And when it's said and done after a dominated performance by Ty Dillon, obviously in the end, Shane Van Gisbergen with strategy to take the win in duel 1. We're taking a break on Elevated and CRN. When we come back, duel 2 and the lineup next. Blue Line Soft Wash is a veteran-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing integrity and precision to exterior cleaning. Founded by a retired law enforcement officer, and we proudly back the men in blue. Blue Line Soft Wash upholds the values of service, commitment, and attention to detail in every job. Trust Blue Line Soft Wash to protect and enhance your property with the same dedication they once gave to protecting our community. Protect and serve. Protect your car with Blue Line Soft Wash today. Blue Line Soft Wash is a veteran-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing integrity and precision to exterior cleaning. Founded by a retired Back here at the World Center of Racing at Daytona. Welcome back to coverage of the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN Broadcasting. David Cruance, I'm Wesley Outland. And David, real quickly, as we get you ready for duel number 2, getting ready to line up here in just a moment with the lineup. We got a few more minutes to kill. Tell everybody a little bit about FTN Broadcasting, and that's kind of your baby.
Well, yeah, we got a great schedule in FTN Broadcasting coming up for the next week, bringing back for its 14th year of racing, the Integrity Racing League. They're going to be starting again on Tuesday nights, starting Tuesday, February 10th. On FTN Broadcasting, they're going to kick off with their Daytona Duels, and the week after that, the 17th, is their Integrity 250, the 14th annual running since 2012, so they're really on a good run there. Friday nights, we're bringing on, of course, the action of Two Fat Guys Sim Racing. That's our dirt series, our premier dirt series, and they'll be going to Williams Grove Speedway next week for 40 laps of action with the dirt big block modifieds. They're Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday nights, starting again middle of February, is Saturday Night Thunder for their 5th year, of course, of action, and their 4th of which with FTN on the calendar. They're a big group. They run on Saturdays. They've had NASCAR guys come through their Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. They begin as well at Daytona in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that's what's the schedule running on FTN. And, of course, sometimes some collab content with Elevated, and the big one tomorrow, the Elevated 500. So a lot of content on our side, and it's good to have that back and forth. And there's your race info for our final of the 3 races that we've broadcasted tonight. 60 laps.
It's pretty much the same thing. Sorry, David, I'm going to cut you off. I thought you were ending your sentence. It's pretty much the same. It's the same distance of what we saw in race number 1, but it is a different caliber of drivers, obviously. And this is obviously the final chance to make it into the 500 for tomorrow afternoon. So I got to wonder if there's going to be more of a panic, if you will, to try to do what you can to get whatever spot you can to be in a good starting spot for tomorrow afternoon's race.
I don't know about a panic, but it is definitely going to be tight. It's going to be tight, and there's no doubt about it. And these drivers, they saw how the first one played out. The first duel, we saw a lot of patience. Didn't work out for anyone except for Shane Van Gisbergen. And goodness, the thing about it is, you saw the patience. 19 drivers lose on patience. 1 driver wins on patience and wins hard. These drivers, I wouldn't be surprised if they lay back early. But pit road, you can't make a mistake. You lose position on pit road or you mess that up, that is your night, even if you're not a lap down. So find the right group, work with the right people, and stay there. That's the ticket to success, and that might mean being a little bit more aggressive than what we saw.
Ladies and gentlemen, without a further ado, it's time to cue up the music and give you the starting lineup for duel number 2 here in Daytona. J.J. Yaley, the Arizona driver, on the pole with Zane Smith from the Truck Series and Xfinity Access to the outside of road number 1. Road 2, Jimmy Johnson, a former winner of the 500 and a 7-time champion, joining Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty. And it's Chase Elliott from Dawsonville in the number 9. This is one he's wanted penciled for a long time. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., a former winner of the 500 and Talladega. He knows SuperSpeedway Racing. And Michael McDowell, he's experienced victory, taking the Harley J. Earl Trophy in row 3. Row number 4 finds Connor Zelich from the short tracks, from a 10-race season in Xfinity and a runner-up in the championship, to now Trackhouse in the 88, and A.J. Allmendinger, the Dinger, is in the 16. Joey Logano, a 3-time Cup champion, and Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man. Could this be the year for the Alva, Florida driver? And that number 1 as well for Trackhouse. They'll start 10th.
One to look out for is 11th place, the 19 for Joe Gibbs, Chase Briscoe. He'll line up alongside JRM's former Xfinity Series champion, Justin Allgaier. One of the most successful men at Daytona is the man right behind him, William Byron. The 2-time Daytona 500 winner lines up alongside Tyler Reddick. You'll have Cole Custer in 15th place and Timmy Hill in 16th. Todd Gilliland, the 34, runs in 17th alongside Christopher Bell, P18. Carson Hocevar is toe-to-toe with Ryan Blaney, another fast man at Daytona, who is your 20th and last on the grid today. 20 drivers readied up and set to go to work for our final duel of the night. There's your weather conditions, Wesley. They look pretty fair.
Wind speed at 14, 15 miles an hour. Later on into the afternoon, track temp at 70, air temp around 68. Right now, it sets a perfect time for us to go back down trackside and get the command to fire the engine. As the music dies down, the command, and once again, David Cruance from FTN to give us those famous words in motorsports.
Well, it's about time for the second time to get things started. Drivers, start your engines. 20 drivers, second chance, the final chance. And with these guys revved up, we're in for another exciting show to finish off an amazing night of racing. This sets your outside front row and your second man on the starting lineup.
The roar of the engines firing up on pit lane. Such sweet virtual perpetual thunder as now they'll pull off of pit road. 20 cars in their kaleidoscope of colors of 10 rows now begin their preliminary lap. One lap to get themselves acclimated with the temperatures and how the car will feel for this final run. 150 miles, 60 laps, 3 attempts at overtime if need be, 4 sets of tires, and all the while, the strategy of having to come down to the pit lane. We saw the undercut in duel number 1, working for Ty Dillon, but then in favor of Shane Van Gisbergen. What will we see for the second one? And it looks like even the weather conditions have changed, David. They're fighting fog on the opening preliminary lap of the back straightaway.
Just a little bit of fog, but as the sun slowly but surely sets, I don't think it's going to be the biggest of deal. Visibility is still fair, but you can see from our TV cameras a little bit harder now to follow these guys.
It really is. Out of nowhere now, we have foggy conditions. This is totally different than what we experienced, if you will, in duel number 1, but they'll make the best of it. That's why they are the best that they are in virtual NASCAR and the AI world. As again, Elevated TV, Sim 500 duels at Daytona. This, by the way, is duel number 2. It is presented by USA Tires. And by the way, click that QR code down in the bottom right. If you click that QR code, that'll give you the opportunity to find out all sorts of details about Elevated TV. Also now coming soon, streaming live on Roku. Cody, something up top says not found. I don't know what you're trying to open. That's illegal. But nonetheless, we should be looking for a green flag. Pace car is in. David Cruance, it is time to bring the field to the CRN restart zone, to the line. Robbins Racing, green flag. Duel 1 was caution free. What will we see in the second and final one before the 500 tomorrow were underway?
Drivers get through the opening corners. Quick there, Wesley. Let's see what's going on.
Obviously, letting these guys get up to speed. And remember, you mentioned it as well. They got those tapered spacers. No longer restrictor plates, but it is still a force flow of the air going to the engine. They still got to have time to get up to speed. And that's what they're doing right now. About another lap when they come out of turn 4. They'll be at full song. And then we're ready to see 190, 200 mile an hour fury.
Foggy as can be, inside and outside close, but not enough now for J.J. Yaley as Zane Smith takes the race lead. Jimmy Johnson going to be pushing pretty well. A lot of fans might not remember Johnson's got himself some good runs with Legacy Motor Club here at Daytona. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in 25, he actually ended up on the podium of this race just by getting out of harm's way. The 84 knows what it's like. Johnson, a 2-time winner of this event, getting it done in 2 of his championship years, as a matter of fact. He's no stranger, but look at Chase Elliott on the outside now, and quickly the outer groove is the preference as Chase drops down and takes the lead.
Jimmy Johnson, a 2-time winner of the Great American Race, and obviously 7-time Cup Series champion. Driving now for the Legacy Motor Club, obviously working in the middle of the top 5. There he is in 5th. Chastain now from the back up to the front. He's in 6th now. Elliott leads him over Elliott. It is still Yaley on the high side. The Ollie's Bargain Burn Ollie's Barn Outlet Machine is up on the high side, leading them as they go to the back straightaway, and we still fight the fog.
Chase now behind Yaley. So JJ again on top. Michael McDowell leads the outside. They are bundled up. Take a look at that. The outside just 2 cars smaller, or really 1 car smaller, just is stacked in the middle of the inside. Side draft is just about even, and maybe these slightly different conditions are playing into helping that outer groove here. Sunny skies, drivers tightened up. Well, cloud cover is going to be a little bit bigger here, but you can still see it peeking through. Day slowly becoming night. Also watch for that. And as we watch on board, now it looks like it's going to be Michael McDowell dropping low to take the lead overall above the inside.
That same thing as well, David, obviously, as they go down that back straightaway, there is now McDowell. He's getting an opportunity to put the Tide 71 to the P1 spot. All this happens now with Chastain and Briscoe now, the new podium drivers, as they work out of turn 3 and 4 in the fog. What a monkey wrench this is. Nothing like Duel 1, as they're now 10 miles into this race as they work back into turn number 1 on lap number 4.
Chase Elliott dropping quickly. Back out of the leading conversation. He is in 8th right now. Connor Zilich right alongside him. And you can see Chase Briscoe with a slight breakout here. Those breakouts aren't actually going to help a driver for all too long. It's good to lead, good to be out and in front, but you know what happens after that? You end up falling right behind and the wind losing it in your sails. You have it for a moment, but then it's gone and everyone wants to take it from you. And when it's taken, very hard to get back. Helping to get out in front, of course, with a few drivers, yes. But if you go out there alone, it's only going to bring you back and it's going to hurt. But right now, Briscoe brought back safely, and Michael McDowell really going to help him out now by giving him that defense.
And that's the question right now, right? We're seeing Briscoe stay now to the inside. He's got help with McDowell, Chastain, Allmendinger, Yaley, all these drivers now under attack on the bottom. There's the outside lane. That's Allmendinger. He's got to push now from the help of the 66 of Austin Hill's machine, or Timmy Hill, actually. While all that goes on, they still can't get anything going, and it is still now with Bell in the mix. So is now Connor Zilich on the outside lane. Right now, Briscoe, the Indiana man from Mitchell, Indiana, locked to the inside, does not break out of lock. The Columbia Bank 19 stays to the inside for these drivers as they go back to turn 1 for Gibbs Racing. And all the while, still fighting the fog as well.
7 in. Very similar look to what we saw in the first 7 of duel number 1. And I honestly think, well, I'm not going to say anything about yellow flags here, but good to see these drivers staying calm and consistent. A little bit of weaving and bobbing back and forth on the outside. Take a look who also has made some big moves. Timmy Hill. Hill is now up 10 spots on the day. That's the most of any one driver right now. The number 66 up in the fight. Hill right alongside some of the fastest in this field. And how about an underdog to win it? I wouldn't be too surprised if any of those underdogs do it. It's the man you're looking at, Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy Hill, by the way, a great success for years in not only the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, but now the NASCAR O'Reilly Series, which used to be Xfinity. A lot of names for Timmy Hill and success. Now we'll see what he does on the Cup side of things. All the while, he's back in that 7th spot as they work their way now up on the high side, fighting the clear. There's the Busch Light number 1, steaming up the middle. That's Ross Chastain. Down below, it is Briscoe, Allmendinger up high. Now they pop back into view. Bell gives a shove to the machine of Briscoe, and Allmendinger and Chastain to the lead as they work 3 and 4.
Here comes AJ, and he's now got himself just behind as he watches and waits. Ross Chastain in control, and the outside has been a critical tool in trying to get a driver up there to the front, but they usually leave it. I'll tell you this much, Wesley. Wow, the fog is in full effect now, and what was a little bit has now become a gray world. Daytona, no sunlight. You can hardly see the clouds nor the sky. And when you're down on the broadcast level, we take a look at those panning TV cameras, well, it's almost impossible to see these drivers from a distance. Even up close, it's getting harder, and it's definitely getting a lot grayer.
Chastain down. Look at this fog. Oh my goodness. Talk about a totally different duel in strategy. Now, David, even though it's foggy for our audience and for us in the booth calling the race, what is it really affecting the guys, the drivers on the racetrack right now as we're closing in on 25 miles complete next time by?
I'm gonna say visibility-wise, no. I don't think there's a reason to believe that it does. But what it might change, honestly, the difference is gonna be conditions like temperature or humidity. That might end up changing a little bit of what we see out of these drivers in terms of how they're pushing on the racing circuit or whether or not they have grip. Honestly, I don't think it's going to play to their disadvantage either. I think these drivers right now with some slightly cooler temperatures might be able to push a little bit more, and tires will remain not a concern. But there might be a little bit of a different feel, but what they're seeing isn't going to be an issue, especially with a field of only 20.
Fighting the view, if you will, for just a moment. Our peripheral vision gets a little blinded, but it is Allmendinger, Cialis number 16, now leading the field down the back straightaway as here they come. Working in turn 3 and 4. Look at now Ross Chastain, the push light number 1 on the outside. Powers alongside Allmendinger. Then it's Bell and Briscoe. They get a shot in the shorts up on the side-by-side do-si-do battle for that position on row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Let's be honest, David. The front of the pack to last, separated by not even a half a second as they go back into turn number 1. Unbelievable.
A fifth of the way through, and it's Ross Chastain who has slowly, but I think clearly now, defined himself as the outlier. Chastain now having himself the inside line, and as long as he's comfortable with it, he can probably take it all the way down to the 40s. So long as AJ Allmendinger doesn't give him a shot. And now Christopher Bell's got some momentum. Again, when the outside gets going, they really get going. Hard to contain them because it's few and far between. But when it happens, they're bad fast. The big thing about the outside is that they have the potential to build more speed. You roll that high side, you got a little bit more power coming through. Not easy to contain when those drivers get it all right. And now that's what we're seeing. 13 in, Bell's got a shot to take it. He does. He goes down low. He's got the race lead.
He will try to make a move, and look at him now getting 3 wide behind them here as we now close in on lap number 13 being completed when they come to the line this time by Allmendinger. Now got some company. Here comes the Joe Gibbs Racing number 20 of Tulsa, Oklahoma driver, or Norman, Oklahoma driver, Christopher Bell, Allmendinger, Bell, Allmendinger, side by side for the lead. Allmendinger, the middle lane to the lead as they work out a 4.
Christopher Bell slotting back in. That's the power of the outside. You can use it to take the lead. Not often can you use it to keep it. The inside is for keepers, but the outside has been for those who are looking to find something. It's a game of back and forth, and again, it looks like Allmendinger is playing it a little bit better. Now Bell goes outside again. It's just the same song and dance, repeated back and forth. And we'll see how it happens now. Bell, with a little bit of support, should be able to take the lead, and that he does.
Some of that fog, dew, if you will, in the afternoon now beginning to try to subside a little bit. I don't know if we're going to call it fog or haze. Maybe there's a building burning and there's smoke in the front of the track that we don't know about because the sun is out. You just saw a glimpse of the sun from the back straightaway from the Daytona Super Shred shot. And now here comes Bell back out in front. Gets in front of Allmendinger and Briscoe pushing him on the inside back into turn 1.
Allmendinger outside, Bell inside. Those are your top 2. Those have been your top 2 for a little while now. 15 laps in out of 60 here. Now I gotta wonder, is anyone else going to try to play the aggressive game? Right now, it looks like not quite. It looks like everyone else is settled in, but look at that, Connor Zilich and J.J. Yaley now with a shot. If Zilich helps out Yaley here, you might just see the 44 going at it. The 1, the 16, the 20, they have been the biggest and the best of the night so far. Now it looks like Allmendinger and Chastain with a break. Allmendinger goes high. He tries to weave down low, but the gap closes too quick.
15 of 60 laps now completed. That's 35 miles into 150 miles for Duel 2, presented by USA Tires. And all the while, it is A.J. Allmendinger up in front, Yaley second, Connor Zilich now. Here comes a driver that knows Daytona from the Rolex 24 and the Busch Series or Xfinity. Now O'Reilly. Connor Zilich is up in the battle for the lead in the top 3, working out of 4.
Yaley out and alone again. If the outside catches him, does he drop? Doesn't look like much of a big difference. Not right now, anyway. Connor Zilich, for the first time all night long, one of the youngest in his field, in fact, definitely the youngest, now in second, eyeing a win.
Connor Zilich, what a star he is. I called many of his races, obviously, back in the day when he ran, and I say back in the day in no disrespect, but it was like 5 years ago when he ran SCCA road races on Trans Am or running in the Carolina Pro Late Model Series of the Cars Tour. Big money races, obviously. And now Connor Zilich, a runner-up in the NASCAR Rally Points last year, 10 wins in the season. The guy should have won the championship. If it would have been a chase format, he would have been the guy to cash the check and hoist the title. But right now, in his new venue with Trackhouse, it is now that driver starting to make the climb into the top 5. He slips now. Zilich now up to the lead. Here comes give him the lead around Yaley and Blaney in number 1.
Another new driver to the points. Look at that. It's been exciting. I'll tell you this much. Ty Dillon led just about every lap of that first duel until pit road. Now, it looks like it's a little bit of a different story. We've had about 5 or 6 drivers really compete and really take the lead. Not what we saw previously. Now, it's an air of aggression. Not to say that these drivers are racing particularly risky, but they're taking chances. They're taking the lead, and they're trying different things, something we didn't see before, something we definitely see now.
And that side draft on the outside lane working by Ryan Blaney. Here comes Blaney. Obviously, Davey Blaney, Ryan Blaney. The success of the Blaneys in motorsports, whether dirt or pavement, from the world of outlaws to NASCAR. And now the Mount Airy, North Carolina driver driving for Penske is now up in front, the 12 in the lead as they go back into turn number 1 and 2. Into 3 and 4, actually.
Blaney and Zane Smith at the head of the field now. So it's a new top 2, and the inside now has about 3 or 4 cars of an advantage. 4 if you count J.J. Yaley, and it's 19 laps in out of 60. So we're about 20 laps out from what will be our final pit cycle of the day, according to what we've seen so far. Patience is going to be critical, of course, because these drivers still need to bide their time to get to that ultimate moment. But as they run, it looks like the inside, again, is going to have the edge in dictating who goes when. But I'm going to say something that may be a little bit more controversial compared to what we usually say. I don't think the leader is going to be the winner of the pit road run. I think, honestly, you're going to see drivers in the mid-pack end up the winner of it. The inside is the right place to be, but I don't necessarily think that leading is going to give you the edge in pit strategy. Position down low will, but leading won't. And here's why. More fuel used, undercutting, means that you're going to find yourself out of the way before just about everyone else is. And it looks like in a game where the pit road game of super speedways is communication and having people around you, being lonely is a death sentence.
Back straightaway, 50 miles into this one now, 100 miles remaining. And as my colleague David Kruwentz just mentioned, in less than 10 laps or more, between 10 or 15 laps, we should start to see pit stops. And it feels like, though, with the fog beginning to maybe clear a little bit as more daylight on the horizon on the front straightaway, that we are looking at another scenario of green flag pit stops, shades of what we've seen, obviously, David, in the first one. And right now, nobody is battling with Blaney. Anybody that gets up in front, if they can stay up in front and try to hold off the outside lane, it looks like the inside lane's the way to go.
I guess right now that it's going to be a little bit of a difference from what we saw in the first 15 laps. Dave Blaney, not in this race, but I'm sure he's watching along as Ryan tries to do what Ty Dillon did in the first duel. Lead and dominate and control. Not easy, not in the slightest, but it looks like right now with the help from Zane Smith, it's a little bit of a different racing attitude. Take a look now as it looks like Michael McDowell might have gone for a brief breakaway on that outside groove. You got the Tide Ride going for it now. Christopher Bell watching as the 71 tries to bring new life into the second lane.
Back straightaway. And Blaney locked to the double yellow line down to the inside. So is Zane Smith. J.J. Yaley, by the way, in that bright yellow and red Ollie's Bargain Outlet number 44 machine, locked right with the front runners as they come storming through the tri-oval at speed. Outside lane, still about 7-8 car lengths back to the front runners on the bottom from Blaney to Hill, and they work now back up the bank and in turn number 1 there, David.
Through 1 and 2 again, and now it's a really big look at single file racing. Take a look at how few are left on that outer groove, and in just one lap, the momentum swings. Now you've got more than 10 in one line. It's about 15-5. And when you're that outnumbered on the second lane, it's almost game over there. So Blaney's got a huge edge and leading them toward the next stage. But I'm wondering now, what about the game of intentionally giving up that lead and trying to get in there for the draft purpose? Blaney can't quite do that right now. If he goes to the outside, he will end up so far behind, and the track position cost isn't worth it. But if you're a Zane Smith right now, you're leading, almost the leader, and you're saving a little bit of your stuff. That's perhaps the best place to be right now. Or if you're J.J. Yaley or Christopher Bell, or if you're Gilliland right there, Todd Gilliland, saving while having track position is the perfect combination.
I got to ask you this question too, David. You know, with everybody really being patient right now, could we see somebody maybe peel off and drop onto the pit lane, if you will, you know, by themselves, like we saw Ty Dillon or Noah Gregson do right in duel number 1, or maybe that these guys watch and see what duel 1 provided, and maybe they do need to realize they need to be with their teammates. There needs to be a strategy when they finally decide to peel down onto the pit lane coming up here in less than 10 laps or so.
26 out of 60. Still calm, still collected. The field is. It'd be interesting if we actually got to look off the outside, or rather the back-end camera from the number 12 of Blaney here. And let's see if we can pull that up, because I want to see the field from behind. What's it like from that rear view perspective? As you can see right there, not a lot to see directly, but it is very, very close for Blaney to Smith. But I think we can actually pull that camera up just a bit. And if we do so, we'll get a real good look at what's going on. If you take that Z-axis and you move it a little bit higher, it should get you the perfect view. So if we take a look upstairs, well, there you see it. It's a train. It's about a freight train at 200 miles an hour. And while these cars aren't interlinked, they are close as it gets. And you can see right now, not a lot of pressure if you're Blaney, but a whole lot of drivers relying on you.
You want to show that from the lead car, actually, of the 12 of Blaney. You're actually seeing it from Zane Smith's front hood from the camera angle. But obviously, everybody is nose to tail. And the man back there at the anchor spot is Timmy Hill, Jimmy Johnson. And then you got to get up to those cars before you catch Allmendinger or Hosovar or Logano or any of these other ones before you finally decide where they are. As here they come from another angle. Look at this angle. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 now. with Logano on the bottom. And before we get back side by side as they work back into turn 2, what a camera angle on Elevated to the 500 here in Duel 2.
And you can see here as we have that perfect ability just to stay right up with these drivers, and iRacing gives you the chance to get these up-close angles that you don't usually see in TV broadcasting. That's where it gets interesting, looking at that banking and how it plays a role. These drivers are tilted and turned all the way, and while you might not perceive that when you're watching from a TV angle, these drivers are getting moved around. Inside the cockpit is an even better look. The sun has come out, the fog has cleared up just a little bit now, and these drivers in Duel 2 are getting a chance now to really finish things off with good conditions. They are within 10 laps of their pit window here. So far, we have had over 13 lead changes, of course, in our first duel. And now, let's take a look at what we've seen in our second duel. The numbers of our overall that we're trying to put together. Duel number 1 saw 13. If we take a look at our race info right now, Cody, what are we looking at in terms of lead changes? I'm wondering. 12. So we're right about there. Interesting. I pulled that lead changes number from the end of the race. And that's when Van Gisbergen ended up leading it the whole way through. Yes, yeah, 13 in total.
In the first one. Yep.
So in the first half, we've only had 30 laps of racing, and we've seen 12. So it's been a more exciting race, definitely this one so far. But it's getting calmer now with Blaney leading.
And they'll come to the line coming up here next time by, and when they do, it will be the cross flags in the air down the Daytona super stretch as they sit with Mount Airy, North Carolina's Ryan. There he is. That's Ryan Blaney's car. High Point, North Carolina's Ryan Blaney. I meant to say in the lead, followed by Zane Smith. Phoenix, Arizona's J.J. Yaley. Oklahoma's Christopher Bell. And here they come now, working out to turn number 4, down to the tri-oval for the line. 75 miles down, 75 miles to go, and we're halfway home. Let's give you your full-filled rundown as we are in the second half of duel number 2 here, presented by USA Tires, all part of preliminary day for the Elevated TV 500 tomorrow. Presented by Stagger Pros at 2 Eastern on Elevated TV and CRN. Ryan Blaney up 19 spots for Penske. He leads. Zane Smith is back to second. J.J. Yaley third. Todd Gilliland now gets around Christopher Bell for 4th and 5th. Gilliland climbing. Then it's going to be Connor Zelich, Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, Timmy Hill, and Tyler Reddick for 23-11 right now. David, your top 10 just after halfway.
And beyond then, you'll have Joey Logano and A.J. Allmendinger 11th and 12th, with Ricky Stenhouse, Carson Hocevar, and Michael McDowell making up the top 15. William Byron is 16th, Chase Briscoe is 17th, Cole Custer is now in 18th, with Justin Allgaier 19th place. Last of them all is right now Ross Chastain. The field is separate in total by 0.7 of a second. Still close, still connected from front to back. And it is anyone's race, even at the halfway.
Oh, and by the way, don't forget, tomorrow we'll have driver analyst from Braxton DeWeese Racing. Braxton DeWeese joining us for the 500, as well as my friend Ryan Tomford. It's been a pleasure, as always, having David Cruance work with us, the Icebreaker, earlier this afternoon, won by David Roberts. And then, of course, Shane Van Gisbergen, Duel 1 winner. And now we wrap up a busy weekend and Saturday of coverage on Elevated and CRN for Duel number 2. It is Blaney, it is Smith, it is Gilliland. Everybody is locked to the double yellow line down the super stretch. And, David, it looks like a stalemate. When do you come down to the pit lane? That's the $1 million question. And will it be costly if you do, and if you can't make it right?
It's going to be, I mean, that's not only costly, but it's game over if you don't make it properly here. I'm thinking that based on what we saw in heat number 1, the first duel anyway, well, I think right now going early is not going to be the right way to do it. Honestly, later looks better. Blaney's probably going to be forced to go in earlier, but like we saw with Ty Dillon, that could be a race ending. Very simply put. What I think we're going to end up seeing is patience being critical and biding time. So that back half of the field that we're not talking about right now, a Custer, a Reddick, a Chastain, a Stenhouse, those drivers, they might end up being the winners just by playing their cards right. Right now, it's not the race on the line. You still got to go down a pit road. So wait. Patience is everything. Get the right group, get the biggest group, and you might just end up a winner.
David, could anybody try to roll the dice and play possum and stay out on the racetrack?
The entire way?
Caution, or is it really going to be obviously crazy if you do that?
I think it's too crazy. I think it's too crazy right now looking at the numbers. Again, these drivers have a fuel limit under 100 miles. We've so far gone 87 and a half. It is impossible to imagine you can stay out. And if you do, you're not going to be staying out much longer than when everyone goes down a pit road. So I don't think it's going to help you to do that. If anything, it's only going to cost you. Even if you were, say for instance, to get the yellow flag and stay out as the leader, you're off cycle. And then what? I don't know. I just think even then, it's strength in numbers compared to the guys around you. It's not worth it. We're too far gone in this stint for that to be a real consideration.
Here they come now, working back through the tri-oval at start-finish. Blaney right there on the inside. Zane Smith will follow along with Todd Gilliland. They're all single file. That's 3 Fords along with the Toyota of Bell, a Bowtie Chevrolet of Chase Elliott now in the top 5. And look who's back up there again. Timmy Hill, Connor Zeelitz, Joey Logano, Allmendinger, Hocevar, your top 10. And we're trying to get a little shuck and jive going as drivers might be looking to go to the bottom of the racetrack to commit to come to pit road, David.
Now tucking low. Will it be Blaney still the first? We haven't yet gotten a signal from anyone yet. Coming across the line, same difference. Looks like Allmendinger on the outside 3 wide. That's going to cost him big, but the inside guys have not yet budged.
Blaney locked to that double yellow line. Now we're starting to see something get started in the back of the pack. A second, a third lane. We're trying to go 3 wide. There you go. There's Byron, last year's winner, up the middle. He's got help there with the help of the other car. All this happening as we see now trying to get something going up on the top. It will not materialize. We're back to single file. 4 or 5 cars now hung up on the outside as they work through 3 and 4.
Top 4s remain the same for the past 15 laps. At around this time in Duel 1, we saw our first drivers go to pit road. Hasn't happened here. Hasn't happened yet. And it looks like, still, as we approach closely, lap number 40, drivers going to really try to go the distance and push themselves to the absolute max on their fuel cap. Even Blaney has not yet conceded here.
I'm trying to remember, David, wasn't it like lap 39 or 40, 41 when we finally saw pit stops? I think maybe one guy rolled the dice.
I think 37 was the first time we got it. 37, yeah. But then the most of the field went down around 41.
So a different strategy now for these guys as here they come now, working to the line. Nobody showing any signs of slowing at the moment. Here they come, storming through the tri-oval. Another lap on the board, closing in on 100 miles completed. If you did not know, 2.5 miles, 4.026 kilometers around Daytona. 40 laps is 100 miles, and we are ready for the final 20 laps and the 50 miles to determine the winner to set the lineup for tomorrow afternoon. And now a lot more cars are locked into the inside behind Blaney as they work into turn number 3.
Move to the outside. That's 1. That's Zane Smith. I think that this is the signal that Blaney is the first man in. Everyone moves out of caution. And Blaney, well, yep, that's as simple as it gets. He's the first man through. Little bit of contact there from the back half of the field. They spread out big. And even with all that preparation, Blaney comes in, and he comes in hot. Yellow flag's out.
Caution is out. Unbelievable. A yellow flag will come out for the first time in the duels of the afternoon. Not sure for what. Yellow flag flies with 100 miles complete, 50 miles to go, as it looks like Ryan Blaney might have a problem in the number 12 car.
I think it was that pit exit that did him in. Everyone got squirrely after that, and luckily they saved it, but look at that big stack up there.
Yep, there it is. I don't know why that would cause a caution to come out, though.
I'm surprised by that, too.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why that would trigger a yellow. Maybe the guys upstairs panicked a little too much, and maybe they felt we needed a caution. Honestly, I think we did. Ryan Blaney again onto the pit lane. Here comes everyone else on pit lane. And honestly, as we get ready to step away for a break, I got a feeling any moment now, with 50 miles remaining, 20 to go, when they get behind the pace car, with now J.J. Yaley out in front. Ryan Blaney did pull onto the pit lane. He made his pit stop. He's not going to get penalized. All these other guys, they're going to come down pit road. I think this puts Ryan Blaney in a perfect spot for the restart here, David.
Everyone else is going to fall right behind him. This is huge. He has not yet lost the lead since he's taken it. And as he's gotten a grip on her, that lead has not gone anywhere. We're going to step aside quickly, as you mentioned, but we'll come back with less than 20 laps to go. And it may very well be Ryan Blaney's race to lose after this.
Extreme racing, extreme excitement, extreme fun. Sportsdrome Speedway in Clarksville, the place for fun-filled, affordable family entertainment in Kentuckiana. The only asphalt track in Kentuckiana to feature oval action and the thrill of figure-8 racing. Visit SportsDromeOnline.com for ticket prices and a full race schedule. Sportsdrome Speedway, the grassroots of auto racing since 1947.
Watching Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Sarah Fisher, Bobby Unser, Mario Andretti, and A.J. Foyt have in common the Winchester Speedway, the world's fastest half-mile. Driving at the Winchester Speedway was a stepping stone to the big leagues and an accomplishment each of these drivers is proud to list. Come out to the Winchester Speedway. Come see the stars of tomorrow as they meet the challenges of the Winchester Speedway, the world's fastest half-mile. The Winchester Speedway offers great family entertainment, affordable ticket prices, and a chance to see the stars of tomorrow. The Winchester Speedway, the world's fastest half-mile.
Getting ready for the final 50 miles of the duel number 2 for the drivers of the NASCAR Cup Series here for the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels presented by FTN Broadcasting. Of course, these drivers under the yellow flag. First caution of the entire duels of the afternoon here, obviously, and we now set ourselves up, if you will, David Cruance, for a crazy strategy. Drivers all pitted. Ryan Blaney pitted before the caution. He comes back up smelling like a red rose, if you will. The new leader, Blaney, even before the caution, he had agreed to come to the pits. The accident or whatever spin happened, half spin with Jimmy Johnson, triggers a yellow, and he ends up pitting before everyone else and gets the lead as we get ready for another restart.
17 to go and we go green. I think that's going to be the case. Ryan Blaney is up 19. So Blaney winning would be a last to first victory. And I think that's the most unpredictable thing that we've seen throughout the entire night, and perhaps the most unbelievable. And with the advantage on the way through this time by, I think there's a fair shot he does it.
Get ready, because when we come back around next time by, the green flag will fly, and it will be a shootout with 17 to go to find out the outside lane for the duel in the Elevated 500 presented by Stagger Pro tomorrow from Daytona.
You're listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
Your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows, and real-time news updates you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters, connecting you to what matters most. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress to support your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
Strapping in to be a humdinger, baby, in the virtual world of Daytona. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing on iRacing. David Cruz, as well as Wesley Outland here. Cody Deemers on production, Elevated TV and CRN coverage of the Elevated TV Sim 500 Duels presented by FTN Broadcasting at Daytona. And we are ready to bring them back to the green flag. The fog has lifted. The lights are on. The candlesticks brought up, lit around Daytona, illuminated, and it is now time to settle the outside row for the 500, beginning again at 2 p.m. Eastern, Sunday afternoon tomorrow here. Green flag back in the air, back inside the CRN restart zone, and look at this. Chastain looked like he kind of had a bobble on the restart, couldn't get fired. He now gets back in line in fourth. Byron now with a big burst of momentum on the outside, behind Yaley, and it's now Blaney under attack of those cars on the outside in 1 and 2 there, David.
Ryan Blaney now going to have to fight what we've seen on the only starts that we've had all day long. The outside's good to begin with, but is it good to end? And now you see what happens. J.J. Yaley drops down, takes the lead. This is the dangerous part. These first few laps are make or break. If you're not leading 10 laps in, it's all but game over now. 17 to go. A lot of time, a lot of opportunities, but is it enough time for a driver like Blaney to take the lead back?
Here's the thing, though. Am I right, though, David? Literally, everybody's back on even Steven. It's even kill. This is something that we obviously see differently. A caution bunching everybody else up, closing in on 35 miles, remaining 15 to go next time by. And now I think we're going to see a strategy of who wants it the most, who will go for it, like Byron, pulling out of line, the back-to-back Daytona 500 defending winner in the Valvoline 24 for Hendrick. He's got a push from Bell. He tries to get a third lane going. Yaley to the lead on the inside of the Ollies. Bargain Outlet 44. Bright yellow colors are coming. Holy cow. Here comes also the 34. That's Todd Gilliland. Another yellow car of Carson Hocevar in the mix. Now here come the Bees in Daytona. 15 to go.
Well, don't look back, because even then you're going to have to deal with what's going on behind, and that is 3 Wide Racing with Joey Logano and company. I mean, it's tricky to see what goes on now. These drivers are tighter with each other than they've been all night long, and they're at the back of the pack. Sun is slowly setting. Could be a nighttime race when it's all said and done now. Logano inside. Chastain middle of 3. He looks like he actually might have some help. And there's a breakaway. It looks like now you got the first 8 of the field starting to separate.
All the while, here they come, storming, funneling off of turn number 4. Here they come at full speed. 14 to go in the back. Look at the dirty air, unorganized chaos brewing with the leaders up in front, led by Yaley. J.J. Yaley on the bottom. Now you're on board with the colors of Joey Logano and the Pennzoil machine, trying to join the other yellow cars in the dance. David, he can't get there on the outside lane. He's stuck. It has to go to the bottom in 2.
13 to go. Double file all the way down outside of the top 10. But you take a look as Ross Chastain now tries to make a move on his own. How far can he go like that? 1 driver, 2 drivers, and he's going to stall out. Doesn't have enough help, but he's fought himself into the conversation without any other assistance.
Honestly, what a save he just made. 3 wide, 3 by 3 now in the back behind the leaders. It is Byron in the mix. So is also these other cars. Allgaier, Stenhouse, Smith, Briscoe, McDowell, all as right now Yaley leads him with clean air on the back straightaway.
It's a thrill to watch what happens here in these last moments. Anything could happen, and it still looks like we don't know the end of the story. J.J. Yaley and Ryan Blaney, though, they both are ahead. And it looks like, even with what we saw out of Blaney beforehand, where he was able to break away and get that lead full on, well, it looks like right now, one driver has a chance to get away. And that one man, it's going to be J.J. Yaley. Yaley versus Blaney. I think that's going to be the way they run till the end of it. And if anyone else can get through, I'll be shocked. Maybe Todd Gilliland, maybe Carson Ozavar, but those top two are out in front.
Yaley right now, you're on board with him in the cockpit of that car right now with 12 to go down the super stretch as they go back up at 31 degrees of banking here in Daytona. Working now off of turn number 3 and 4. They're at full song with Yaley on the bottom. Blaney right there. Gilliland on the outside lane. And here comes Byron trying to get something started again. Watch the outside lane with Allmendinger. Cody, what do you want? Yaley, Blaney, Gilliland, all of the top 5 in our predictor here. Cody is telling us all that they're in double-digit positions climbing through the field. What I mean by that, 18 for Blaney, 14 for Gilliland. Hocevar up 15 spots. Timmy Hill now by the top 5 in 6, but he's up 10 positions as they work now. Close in on 10 to go. David, 25 miles left in the Duels here in Daytona tonight.
It's going to be now just 10 laps to go with those 25 miles, and that's the unbelievable part of it. Still, got a fair deal of miles, and we're going through them at a high speed. If these drivers want to win, they've got to prove it now. J.J. Yaley's getting a lot of help from Ryan Blaney here. He has not shown any real intention of moving out of the way, which is interesting. He's been so strong, and he has been one of the guys pushing hard. But as it stands, it looks like he's letting Yaley have a real good shot at it.
Straight away, this time by it will be 9 laps to go. Oh, and we're under single digits when they come to the stripe. Everybody right now in a stalemate. We saw this, David, in race number 1 in the flag-to-flag caution-free race. One yellow flag just before after halfway makes this a strategy, if you will, but nonetheless, while all this goes on, it seems if you're not connected to the inside, you can't make anything happen. The top, the middle is not working. 9 to go with Yaley leading him again in 2 with Blaney right on his tail.
Outside line, a little bit, just a bit, out of the number 7, it looks like. And it looks like, as it stands, the inside is still dominant. I mean, it's pretty obvious right now. Nobody's been able to challenge, and rather A.J. Allmendinger trying something there in the outside groove. Haven't seen it yet work out. Chase Elliott, Timmy Hill are just ahead of the outer groove. Top 5 have been out and on their way. I don't know what's going to happen, though, if you're outside the top 5. I just don't think that there's enough of a chance unless you get aggressive. Aggression has to be the way to do it now. If you're waiting on something, you can't any longer. Unless you don't want to win, I think that's as simple as it gets.
By the way, don't forget tomorrow, 2 Eastern, 1 Central, the second annual Elevated TV STEM 500 at Daytona, presented by Stagger Pros. Tomorrow afternoon at the World Center of Racing. Cody, I hope what you do is set it up to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to run a couple hours of daylight and finish in dark like we've seen here tonight, obviously, in these duels. Here they come, working down to the line with now Yaley. I'm telling you, David, I'm impressed with the Ollie's Market Outlet number 44 of Phoenix, Arizona's J.J. Yaley. What a job he's got going for him right now up in the top spot.
Yeah, Yaley's had a great race. I mean, he's had a fantastic race from the very beginning of this one. He qualified, in fact, in front for this second duel, so it's no wonder that he might be the man to take the outside pole position. I think if anything, if it's not going to be Blaney, he's more than earned it over the course of this night.
He's driving, by the way, for the NY Racing team this year. One of those, under-marketed, not major powerhouses of NASCAR. But right now, he's showing that he can hang right there with the best of them. As right now, Yaley on the inside with a push by Blaney. Gilliland right there. Allmendinger up top with also the help of Chastain and Logano and Smith and Johnson. They just can't get going with any speed on the outside lane. It's like a stalemate, a dirty air when they try to get something going to run down the leaders on the bottom in 3, David.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough right now unless Allmendinger gets a huge run out of the outside, something he hasn't yet. You're going to need to see it starting with, I think it's going to have to go all the way down to a driver like, say for instance, a Custer or a McDowell. Those drivers way off back. Those guys need to start working together and start pushing and building something on the outside. You can't just sit around and expect to move up. We saw it at Daniel Suarez in the first duel. You push hard, you've got a real chance at maybe just taking that lead. But if they're not working together, they've got nothing. That's just what it's come down to. You need to work things out with a little bit more of that push. You need to take more than you give.
Now into turn number 3, down below Yaley's car. Allmendinger up high with the push down by Chastain. Logano, Smith, Johnson, also all of these cars trying to get something going. McDowell and others on the outside lane. Nothing there. Bell, Briscoe, all these cars at one time up in the front, now in the back. But let's be honest, with 4 laps to go, 10 miles left, any of these guys in the pack separated from first to last by 0.7 of a second. They can be in it to win it. Anything could happen, David, as they work the back straightaway again.
Less than 10 miles. Anything can happen. I think that's exactly the way to put it, Wesley. But what's interesting is that maybe more than anything else, we haven't seen anything happen yet. JJ Yaley has been holding it down, and his guard on this field has been perfect and relentless. I think that's the interesting thing. Even if it could get chaotic, it hasn't. And we got to ask ourselves maybe why.
3 to go. Yaley still on the inside, the 49-year-old from Phoenix, Arizona. His real name is Christopher Beltran Hernandez, but J.J. Yaley just stuck better for him. And he currently leads the way down the back straightaway as we conclude Duel 2, presented by USA Tires in Daytona. Blaney right there with the help of Gilliland. All the while, here comes Hocevar with Allmendinger, Heel, Chastain. Behind them, they are stacked up side by side as Christopher Bell drops out of line, comes down to the pit lane. Penultimate lap in Duel, penultimate 2, 5 miles to go. It's Yaley leading him into 1, David.
2 to go. Yaley just has to stay calm and composed now. It looks like everyone else behind him, except for maybe just Ryan Blaney, is a non-factor, as long as he keeps himself in the position he is, and that is up in front, calm and collected on the inside. He should be able to come away with this race victory and do so rather simply. Pace yourself and pace yourself with confidence. That's what you got to do as a leader here. Last time we got to the white flag, we did see a hard push from Austin Dillon to try to get up there and win. It just wasn't enough. Time will be everything, and with this final lap, time matters most. 1 lap to go now, Wesley. This is it. Brought to you by W Energy. The final push as Bell goes high.
Blaney goes out of line. He's got help with Carson Hocevar. And now a big burst of momentum from the outside. It's finally working. Here comes Allmendinger and Chastain and Logano and Zane Smith on the outside. Now to the bottom. Blaney to the lead on the inside with the push by Yaley. Gilliland Hill locked to the bottom. Here they come side by side, working into 3 and 4. Hocevar, here comes the Portage, Michigan driver for Spire, making the move, clearing around with the help of Allmendinger. Carson Hocevar, Chaos is going to win Duel 2 in Daytona. Out of nowhere, Carson Hocevar made the right move at the right time with the push, got around Blaney and Yaley, and he wins. He steals Duel 2 for Spire at Daytona. Unbelievable.
He wasn't in the conversation the entire night.
Never.
And yet, wow, up 18 on the day. He ends up the biggest mover of anyone, starting at 19th and winning.
The driver, of course, from Portage, Michigan, another driver that I watched build his resume for a long time from super late models and pro late models in ARCA. Then he got his opportunity to drive in the Truck Series, ran a couple of events in Xfinity now O'Reilly, but honestly, the push from the trucks led the full-time ride now for the Spire Motorsports Ziegler Auto Group number 77 entry. And there is Carson Hocevar. He will be joining Shane Van Gisbergen. Hope you got this stuff written down, if you will, Cody. We got to keep up with it. Those will be the front row. Remember, Duel 1 inside for the race tomorrow, Duel 2 outside, and the field will be set for 500 miles tomorrow afternoon in the second edition from the Virtual World Center of Racing. Thanks to iRacing, the Elevated TV 500 at Daytona, presented by Stagger Pros. Here's a look at the results. Carson Hocevar, nowhere in the equation, David, to win this race. He gets it done, gets around these guys on the last lap with a big help and a push by the Dinger. A.J. Allmendinger, obviously, in 16. Ryan Blaney will end up third. Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man, with the top 5 from Alva, Florida. And what a stellar run for J.J. Yaley for NY Racing to finish in the top 5. Joey Logano, Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, Timmy Hill, you mentioned him earlier. And how about Jimmy Johnson with a solid start? He'll be 10th in Duel number 2 tonight at Daytona.
Then Chase Elliott goes 11th, and Connor Zilish is then 12th. The only driver outside the top 10 to gain spots today was Cole Custer, who finishes 13th, and William Byron is P14, with Michael McDowell then 15th place, Tyler Reddick 16th, 17th being Justin Allgaier, and Ricky Stenhouse 18th on the day. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, the final 2 drivers on the night. They wrap things up. As 20th and last is Bell. He went down to pit road with the white flag lap.
We are taking one more commercial break real quickly, by the way. Let's take a look at the Blue Line Soft Wash race information. When it is said and done, 13 lead changes in Duel 1, 16 in Duel number 2. There was 1 caution flag, a total of 3 caution laps. The race did not need overtime when the checkered flag fell. Time of race about less than 52 minutes and 20 seconds. We're going to take a break. David gives his final thoughts from Daytona. Don't forget Ryan Tompert and Braxton Deweese join me along with Cody Demers for the 500 tomorrow afternoon. We close the duels. We preview the race tomorrow when we come back from Daytona next.
Watching Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon.
Shady Bowl Speedway is the premier asphalt track in Ohio. This year's schedule makes that absolutely indisputable. Which drivers will prevail in 2017? Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Shady Bowl Speedway.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Elevated TV or listening on the community radio networks and coverage of the Elevated TV 500 Duels at Daytona, presented by FTN Broadcasting. Also want to say thank you to CRN USA Tires for sponsoring the Duels in each at the end of 150 miles. Twins in the books, one yellow flag. But, David, I think we've seen some storylines that I think will follow in for tomorrow. I want to give your final closing thoughts as well, David. Always a pleasure working with you. But one of the things I'll take from tonight, we'll see what happens tomorrow with everybody. As Russ Willer said to Cole Trickle, now get your own car. Let's see how you do in the crowd. 40 cars will be on the course tomorrow. And will they all lock to the bottom? Will they be catfishing, as we say in the dirt track world, to the inside of the double yellow line? And what will it take to finally get a second or third lane going? I don't want to say that tonight was boring by any stretch of the imagination for the Duels. They were entertaining. There was desperation moves to try to get up there. But honestly, if you're not committed to the inside, you're pretty much, it looks like, screwed. Something's got to work tomorrow for the middle and the top. And obviously, weather conditions. Will it be foggy? Will we have a threat of rain? Will the temperature drop on humidity? All of these factors could be very deceiving to lead what happens in 500 miles tomorrow afternoon. Your final take of tonight.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's going to work for the middle and outside grooves tomorrow, if we saw from what we saw today, it's time. I think the only thing you can do is bide your time and wait for things to play out in your favor. It's not easy, not in the least, to get through without waiting. And unfortunately, it looks like the way these drivers are going at it, the preference is to be on the bottom. The only way you're going to do it is through patience. And that's how we saw Carson Hocevar end up winning the final duel. We didn't expect to see him up there at all, and yet he was able to burst on through and end up taking the overall win. It was a shock in that second duel how he did it, but he did it well, and he ends up the winning man after all. That's what counts, waiting and playing it out. That's what we saw, of course, in the duel, so I can imagine with the 200 laps tomorrow, it's going to be all about just doing the right thing and waiting to get there at the end.
A final question as well. I got to ask you one more time as well as we look at some more of the highlights of the race here. One more thing I got to ask you is we noticed that the bottom lane was the way to go tonight, but Daytona changes, right? It's like a stepchild. It might want to go one way one day, and the next day it goes the opposite. We could see the middle lane or the top lane work. What are the variables that have to happen to see that take place tomorrow afternoon for the 500 there, David?
I think, honestly, it's just going to come down to the number of drivers who are where they are. We saw tonight that if you got if you had even drivers from the inside and outside, that, yeah, actually, you would be able to get things going correctly. That's the big thing. Track conditions do change a little bit, but I think that especially when we go day to night racing and things get cooler and cooler, there's going to be no reason to run a risk or do anything different. Instead, you're going to try to go down to the bottom. But if there's numbers up high, especially in the last moments of the race, you could see a driver push out and take the win. I mean, Hocevar came out of nowhere and was able to shoot out from the outside, and as well, AJ Allmendinger in that freeze frame, you see he was able to edge out Ryan Blaney. The outside can win if used correctly. It just comes down to getting cooperation. And if you know the right people, you can get away.
Ian Tomford and Braxton Deweese will join Cody Deemers and yours truly on the broadcast call tomorrow afternoon. Coverage will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central on Elevated TV and CRN. The green flag will be looking to fall just after 2:15 tomorrow. As right now, before we let you go, I can't call it that because someone else does. But here is the most exciting moment of the race. Obviously, here it comes. And what do you know? It's got to be that push out of nowhere. Look at this. Hocevar jumping out of line from the middle on that. He's in the middle of that inside lane. And then he gets a push, joins Blaney. Hocevar, why not? Blaney's the fastest car. But then he left Blaney hung out to dry, and the push from Allmendinger, if you will, David, allowed the Ziegler Auto Group number 77 to go full steam ahead. Finally, something working on the high side to get around these cars on the bottom of Blaney and others as they come to the flag.
That is where the inside line fails. The right timing and the right people can make the outside the winning groove in just a moment's notice. And that's exactly how Hocevar won and how J.J. Yaley lost it.
Me and the flag man, Barney, going to have to talk with one another because I notice he doesn't wave the damn flags like he's supposed to. I don't know why. I don't understand, but me and him are really going to have a convo with one another. Phenomenal job, though, when it's all said and done. What a great job. Shane Van Gisbergen and, of course, Carson Hocevar on the front row. Remember the way they finished in the duels this afternoon will be the lineup for the cars in the 500 tomorrow afternoon. Make sure you plan again to join us on Elevated TV and CRN at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Green flag at 2:15. 500 miles, 200 laps. And if there is one thing to think about, there is stages in the race. And obviously, we'll at least see a yellow flag 2 times out of the events with only 1 caution in the duels this afternoon. If you'd like to know more about Elevated TV, get signed up on Discord. Click the QR code that's about to be posted right now. Coming soon, live racing action all day, all night, 24/7 on Roku TV. Click on the QR code for all of the details. David Cruich, your final take of this afternoon. Always a pleasure working with you, my friend. We had grassroots late model racing with the Icebreaker. By the way, that's available on replay, just like this one will be when we go off live. Obviously, David Roberts winning that race, and then the duels, seeing Van Gisbergen and Hocevar set up an exciting front row for the 500 tomorrow. Your final closing thoughts, my friend.
It was a fantastic night of racing, and it does set the tone very well for that 500 that you'll be covering with Cody there tomorrow. The best part about it is, well, what's going to happen now is these drivers have experience. They get themselves ready to, and now that they're set to go, the exciting part is taking that knowledge and bringing it to the next race. Carson Hocevar found something on the outside that most drivers have not had all night long, finding confidence. Ryan Blaney or Ty Dillon or J.J. Yaley, these were drivers who were amazing through the long green flag runs, and the best thing about it is, now that they know what it's like using these opportunities to practice with the most important race, they'll be ready. So I think we're going to see even better racing in the best moments of this event. The 500, they're yet to come, Wesley, and it's going to be amazing to watch it back with you on the call and, of course, the Elevated team.
By the way, if you'd like to, again, join us, make sure, again, 2 Eastern, 1 Central, Elevated TV and CRN for broadcast coverage of the event. By the way, tomorrow is the Elevated TV Sim 500, 2nd annual from Daytona, presented by Stagger Pros. The duels from Daytona this Saturday afternoon have been presented by FTN Broadcasting. And as always, we thank you for watching. In less than 24 hours' time, we'll find out who will be the 2nd annual virtual winner of the Elevated TV Daytona Sim 500. For producer-director Cody Demers for coverage on Elevated TV and on CRN. For everybody at FTN Broadcasting as well as David Cruich, I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen and chaos out of nowhere, Carson Hocevar being the dual winners, locking up the front row for tomorrow afternoon's Elevated TV Sim 500 at Daytona, presented by Stagger Pros. Until then, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and thank you for watching. This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of Elevated Broadcasting. Elevated TV would like to thank all of our fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.